Alright, with that, I'll call the meeting to order. As always, we start our meetings off with a word of prayer.
Yeah, let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to gather this morning. Just ask that you watch over us, protect us, be with us. Thank you for the blessings that you provide our families and each one of us. We do ask that you be with all the members of our community that are hurting or sick or experiencing loss of loved ones. Just put your hand upon them and give them comfort. We thank you for the liberties that you give us, but most of all, we thank you for the liberty that you give us through your Christ, through your Son, Jesus Christ, dying on that cross for our sins. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty. You wanna check our quorum?
Alright, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
For our quorum, Ms. Cookenbook.
Here.
Now, Mr. Booth appears remote, but he's down the hall due to not feeling well and just being protective of everybody. But he's actually on the premise at the same address. So, Mr. Booth.
I'm in the building, no problem.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Ms. Bechtold? Here. And Mr. Terman.
Yes.
We have
Is Elvis there too?
We have a quorum.
Give me a good excuse for ignoring it. Alrighty. Now we'll have the approval of the agenda, but we wanna amend the agenda under 11C for a proclamation for Child Cancer Awareness, one for Recovery Month, and a proclamation for Suicide Awareness Week. Does anybody else have any additions or subtractions?
I'll move if you're ready, sir.
Take a motion to approve.
I will make that motion to approve the amended agenda.
Second.
Second.
Alright, on a motion to approve the agenda with the amendment of adding 11C for 3 proclamations for Child Care Awareness, Recovery Month, and Suicide Awareness Week, which is the 7th through the 13th. Ms. Cookenbook?
Yes.
Ms. Bechtold?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes,
And Mr. Terman?
Yes. Alright, with that, we'll move on to the approval of disbursements. Has everybody had a chance to?
Yeah, I have a question. So, if I may. On our Falconer Construction Company. Is that the final? I thought we had the final.
That's the
Well,
final.
obviously. I thought I understood that the last one was the final.
No, ma'am.
So what does this cover?
Let me just pull that up, please.
Thank you.
Sorry, it took a minute to get in here. I believe one was phase 2, correct?
Yeah, invoice 7.
Yep, invoice number, phase 2, what does it cover? You know, I'm not sure of exactly, I think it was.
So does this happen because the parking lot?
Yes, that's pretty much where that's at.
Okay. And we've already been round and round and round and round. Alright, and then and that is our workers' comp insurance premium, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay,
and LODA.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quarterly.
it's a quarterly?
Quarterly,
Okay.
correct. And
Alright,
then we just had the audit, so
right,
the other quarters may be adjusted accordingly,
okay,
hopefully down.
Yeah, alright, I'm good. That was the only two things I had.
I called and got while we had
Mr.
hundred
Chair?
and twenty. Hold on a second, Jerry. Had
Oh.
$120 checks, 5 of them in a row. I checked on that, found out that for people that sees that, that's our ads for the Cardinal News.
That's correct.
Right.
Yep.
Caught me off guard there, I thought,
Yep.
did he, print the same check 5 times?
Right.
Go ahead, Jerry.
And the land division.
I was just wondering if, the community services had got straightened out on their payment.
They have, sir, we emailed Rebecca Leeper, and we are in correspondence, and she put in for 50% of the reimbursement for community services and Fairview.
Okay,
So that,
thank you.
you're welcome.
Postage prepayment customer, that was the other thing. Is that treasurer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that is in lieu of December, I would assume?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Going out?
getting our postage early.
Before
that goes up.
Alright,
Take a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion to approve the disbursements for the September 9th run.
I'll second.
Call the roll.
All right, to approve the disbursements as presented, Ms. Cookenbook,
Yes.
Mr. Cox,
Yes.
Mr. Booth,
Yes,
Ms. Bechtold,
Yes.
and Mr. Terman.
Yes. Next, we have approval of the minutes. I believe I'll take them separate, being one of them was a public hearing.
Sir.
So I'll take a motion to approve our minutes to the public hearing if there's no corrections or,
So moved.
Second.
motion second, call roll.
All right, a motion to approve the 8/26/2025 public hearing minutes. Mr. Cox,
Yes.
Ms. Bechtold,
Yes.
Ms. Cookenbook.
Yes.
Mr. Booth,
yes,
and Mr. Terman.
Yes. Next, I'll take a motion to approve our minutes for our regular meeting on August 26th if there's no
You
discussion
know, I
or
read.
corrections.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, call roll.
All right, on a motion to approve the regular board meeting for 8/26/2025, Mr. Cox,
Yes.
Ms. Cookenbook, Ms.
Yes.
Bechtold,
Yes.
Mr. Booth,
yes.
and Mr. Terman.
Yes. All right, Chad, I didn't use but a couple of your minutes, so.
Oh, no, he's got to.
Yeah, you doing good.
Yeah, he's doing good.
Right on schedule. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having the Department of Social Services here to speak for a few moments. I did bring with me, I don't think everyone's met, Hope Estes, our benefit program supervisor. I thought it would be beneficial with the One Big Beautiful Bill Act that has caused a lot of speculation and conversation to have Ms. Estes come and speak about some of the impending changes as we know them, specific to the Medicaid program and also the SNAP program. So with that, I will let Ms. Estes speak, and then you can certainly ask questions and we can clarify things as needed.
So SNAP and Medicaid are totally separate, have different rules, different regulations. Medicaid's really on top of things because they've already given us a timeline of expectations of changes that are gonna be coming over the next 2 to 3 years. Really the big change for our non-citizens really doesn't happen until October of 2026. And that's where some of our alien population is gonna lose their Medicaid and go back just to emergency services, which would just cover their hospital visits basically. The next really big change is just October of 2028, and that's when that work requirement is potentially gonna go into effect. And I feel like it's gonna have exemptions, the same as the SNAP program currently does, where if you're disabled, if you're taking care of a disabled person, if you have children, get a medical exemption from your doctor, different things of that nature are going to, be excludable for that work requirement for the Medicaid, so they do not lose the Medicaid. The SNAP, we've not heard a lot about, just that changes are coming. And the big one, I think, for the majority of the state is going to be the work requirement. And that work requirement does have multiple exemptions. If you're disabled, temporarily disabled, children in the home, taking someone's care if someone's sick, volunteering 20 hours a week or working 20 hours a week. If you're getting unemployment or working through one of the VIEW or SNAP, which is our employment and training programs. If you're doing a trade, self-employment, if you're in school. Right now, we don't have any exempt localities in the state based on some of the new rules and everything that have come down. And that's just based on your unemployment rate for your city or town. If you participate in a drug and alcohol treatment, if you're homeless, a veteran, or you were in foster care on your 18th birthday. This is gonna change right now for SNAP. It's people who are under the age of 55 are required to be participating or be exempt and working 20 hours a week or volunteering 20 hours a week, working in lieu. So if you're working in lieu of your rent, that could be an exclusion. So this age though is potentially gonna change. They've not come down and said specifically what came down in the bill, to my understanding, unless it changes once it hits the state level in our policy, is that it's gonna be anybody under the age of 64 and under.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And again, specific to the work requirements, there's options there. It's 20 hours a week, 20 of work per week, 20 hours of volunteering a week, or you can participate in a work training program as well. So there are options there for those
Right.
individuals.
And
Then if I could just mention a couple of things, in addition to the SNAP changes. I don't know how many of you have heard about the error rates when it comes to determining SNAP eligibility. So, currently, the way that the state administers the program is through the federal government through a match rate, a 50-50 match. So for every dollar that the federal government puts in to administer the SNAP program, the state puts in another 50%. That's going to change in federal year 28. So in October of 2027, administrative cost is gonna shift from a 50% match to a 75% match. So
From
the
the
state will
state?
have to match 75% and the federal government will go down to the 25%. So again, so that's gonna be on current, looking at current statistics and current, cases, that's gonna be a $270 million shift.
Wow.
Now, in addition to that, there also will be a penalty imposed again in fiscal year 2028 relative to the SNAP error rate for each individual state. And the penalty is determined based on the percentage of the error rate. Now, right now, Virginia stands at an 11.5% error rate, which is gonna be would be the highest penalty, which would be another 270 million penalty for the state. So as you can expect, the state is going to do everything that they can to get that error rate down below 6%, because below 6%, there would not be that penalty, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, they're gonna start looking at the error rate that will start being calculated in about October 1st of this year. So for this coming federal fiscal year, the error rate will be determined on that. So the state has a couple of weeks left to begin working to get these error rates down. And so they have implemented a number of training requirements for the benefit individuals. And right now, currently, the state has no methodology, so they're telling us to determine which locality has a specific error rate. So right now, it's one average error rate across the whole state. They can't look and tell us, okay, Floyd County, your error rate is this much. or Roanoke County, your error rate is this much.
How do they determine this error rate?
Well, that's the question. They don't, they go by the quality control reviews across the whole state and how many, they randomly select cases and the error rate is determined on that,
And
so.
what does that make up, but what is, like, is it that you gave SNAP to somebody who didn't deserve to have SNAP?
Either they didn't deserve to have it or they're getting, or they
More
didn't
than-
get enough.
They didn't get
So it could
enough?
be either way.
Oh,
Not necessarily. The error rate, it doesn't have to be a money error rate. It can be that we didn't get something verified. It can be that the address wasn't verified.
So
It
the
can
completion
be-
of the application itself.
Yes, it doesn't
Wow.
necessarily have to involve any money.
But if it does involve the funds, even if we did not give someone enough, that's still considered an error.
that's what I'm saying, yeah.
And you would not believe the list of requirements that these eligibility workers or benefit program specialists are referred to now have to go through. There's so many things that could go wrong. So, I don't know, at some point, my thinking is that the state is gonna look at the error rate individually in each locality and say, okay, this is gonna be owned by this locality because your error rate is this way, this much. Is that gonna happen? I don't know. It just depends on how the state chooses to proceed with the process as the I guess you could say bills or the expenses go up. So we will be working diligently and you know, Miss Estes here is, well, you can tell, I mean, she's very knowledgeable of the benefit programs, and we're under a review right now for Medicaid, for SNAP. But it's looking pretty good, we'll find out, you know, the outcome of that. But the other issue that we have been told is that the state reviewers that are reviewing us right now don't use the same requirements as the quality control people that the feds use. So until those two come together, that's still another issue, which the state is working to bring those together now.
Looks like they're setting you up to fail.
Yeah, that's
A lot,
exactly what I
yeah.
was thinking.
And with quality control, so like we are in month 9, they read 2 cases. So,
Right,
right, so if we get one wrong, we're at 50% error rate.
right.
So they need to come up with a better way.
So it's not a ratio of cases, it's
Yeah,
a ratio of
that's-
review or audit. Wow.
And of course, bigger agencies get more pulled because it's all sort of random with the quality control.
Right.
I think Glenda's got.
Now, with that $270 million change in funding, that's based on people who are currently qualified to receive the benefits. So when you have fewer people qualified to receive the benefits, that percentage of, or that amount of decrease is gonna go down.
The amount to administer the program itself, I don't think would change. Specific to the error rate, that could certainly decrease if Virginia can get their error rate down. But again, that's gonna be determined whether or not, you know, they're successful in doing that. Of course, you know, the governor has already signed an executive order requiring certain things relative to the application and the approval process, but at the same time, the state hasn't put all of the guidelines out for us, you know, behind that executive order, so there's some catch up to do.
So my feeling on this is, I mean, obviously Floyd is being now compared to, in terms of error rates, to Fairfax or, you know, Loudoun County or any of these counties that are larger. And so everybody's getting thrown into a basket and then judged. It would seem better to do it on individual case basis, although it would take the state a lot longer to have to compile everything, but it would probably drop the error rate, I would think.
I would think so, and that's one of the main points that the League of Social Services is making to the state is, hey, we need to know and be able to drill down to know whatever individual error rates are at the local level. Now, how they plan to do that, again, that ball is still up in the air, so we'll see what happens, but the state, again, will do everything that they can to get that error rate down because it's money. I mean, it's a substantial amount of
And
funding.
it's not gonna be based on individual centers, it's gonna be based on random. So you have challenges of different counties who maybe have issues with staffing or turnover or things of
Right.
that nature. And your perfect score is based on possibly,
As it stands right now.
right,
But
Okay.
that could potentially change. I don't see how that it could be fair
correct,
that every locality is penalized for
Exactly.
another locality's.
right.
That was the question I was gonna ask you.
Is there something we could be
So-
proactive about? I'm sorry, Joe.
That's all right. No, go ahead.
Well, I think so. I think so
Sorry.
as a community, as the board, you can make it known that we want to make sure that we're doing a good job locally, but we don't wanna be put into the bucket with the other localities if they're failing in that way.
That's about as unfair on
Yeah.
400 different levels up
Right.
there. You know, because we can't compete with some of these other people.
Yeah.
You know, we got
point.
different situations here, you know.
And they're not easy jobs. They're very, I mean, people think, well, you know, eligibility work or benefit program specialist, they just have this very black and white. And to a degree it is, but there's a lot of things that can be missed and they have very high caseloads.
Yeah.
I don't see how y'all keep it going, I really don't.
Any other questions?
We have faith in you.
Yeah,
We're working.
yep, we know.
I appreciate you.
Thank
Well,
you for the
thank
update.
It's-
Thanks as
It's odd
always.
you still got pretty tired, you know.
It's white underneath, don't worry.
Keeps going on.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just distracting. Sorry.
I forgot Jerry, you're gonna have to speak up.
Out of sight, out of mind?
I'll try to remind him.
Jessica,
He's not responding.
Jerry?
He's on mute.
Is he muted?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I think we could just replace some of their presentation with some of the same issues we face with being compared to other localities and state funding and all the things that come with that. But just giving a little update on our meeting last night. It was relatively short, not a lot on the agenda. We highlighted our summer farm to table enrichment experience that we had for students in grades 3 through 7. We had 36 students in the division. We actually filled up all the slots. We had some that couldn't get in, so we're hoping to expand next year into our farm to table experience where students got to kind of get a taste, no pun intended, of our CTE programs at the younger age. That's one of our division goals, is to bring some of those experiences down. We know that students make up their minds about careers well before they hit 8th grade.
Yep.
Research shows 4th or 5th. So we're trying to get a lot of those experiences down in our lower grades, and this opportunity was a week-long summer experience where they meshed culinary, agriculture, STEM, and education. And they planted and gathered eggs, made zucchini bread, made their own little raised gardens in a tin and planted a vegetable plant. Made their own farm to table business. It was really a great experience. Lots of wonderful feedback, and we're hoping to expand this summer with maybe 2 weeks sessions or have more teachers and get to expand the amount we take during that week.
How many
So,
faculty were involved in that?
in the planning, several, but you had culinary, ag, education, STEM, and probably about 6
That's cool.
altogether.
Well, that was great.
So it was a great experience. And we're gonna highlight that at the VSBA annual convention in November. We're sending that in as a sign of success where we make a little sign about it. So we're proud of that opportunity. We just finalized some policy revisions from the previous month that were just changes from code, no major process changes. Approved our special education advisory committee for this year. That meets 4 times throughout the year, and they provide some supports for our instructional assistants, some recognition for them in the spring. Overnight field trip requests, we got a lot of teams going, a lot of clubs going to conventions, and it feels like everything has picked back up since
Nice.
since the COVID years, and we're traveling and just getting our students to experience lots of great things. The
membership, we're looking good at 1616. Now that is August 31st. So last week is kind of a big pivotal week with Labor Day and shifting, so we'll see if those numbers hold steady in September. But that's quite a bit more than we budgeted for, so we're happy about that, because we've already spent quite a bit more than we budgeted on HVAC this year, so that will help pay for that. We did have more good news. I know I shared last month that we were, one of the highest improved overall in student performance. Well, the Board of Education met at the end of August, and they released those raw SOL results, which includes how we rank among other divisions. And in 2024, we were 64th out of 131, and in 2025, we were 49th.
Wow.
So
Excellent.
we had a big jump. We're very, very excited about that, and that's really a testament to the people we have doing the work every day in our classrooms.
Did you say out of 129?
131.
131, thank you.
131 school divisions,
Wow.
yeah. The change though there is the State Board of Education is also considering changing the cut scores, and you may have seen some of that in the news. So whereas right now 400 is passing on an SOL, they're contemplating, or they are going to increase it, but some of the numbers are as high as like a 479 is now passing. So that will dramatically impact our pass rates, but we're gonna really pay attention to how we still rank relative to our peers. Cause everyone's gonna experience that same kind of drop. So are we still keeping up in the same level we have been in regards to our peers? So that exact rate has not been determined. It won't be determined till they said sometime this fall. So we're hoping this month or next month, because it would go into effect this spring, which is also challenging because we have students that test in the fall and students that test in the spring, and they would theoretically be held to two different standards. So the data from that's going into next year will look a little different.
Skewed.
But we're paying close attention to that, and overall, our focus just is staying on making sure that good instruction is happening in our classrooms, and by all accounts and purposes, it is. It's been a strong start to the year. Everything seems to be going well. Athletics, golf team's doing well, homecoming this Friday, so it's hard to believe it's middle of September. Yeah. But do you guys have any questions?
No.
I was gonna ask questions. The SOL scores, that's determined by the score number, that's determined by that's a state thing. Do they have, what's the reasoning for trying to go higher?
Well, and in full disclosure, we would love for it to be a little higher. It is, in some cases, a 60%. And in some cases even lower. So it was lowered back in 2020 with COVID and knowing how that would impact everything.
Right.
So it does need to come up. But this is a pretty big increase and not really in a phased in
Sort of
kind of
like-
model, because with students, as you know, if you start ninth grade and you have a career plan and you're taking classes and passing at this expectation, and that changes the spring semester of your senior year, that could lead to some issues.
Do you
Yeah.
have like an average number of Floyd County's average test score number, or is that like?
We could pull that, just looking, the numbers I shared with our board, overall, our math pass rate in 2025 was 71%. The proposed change would drop that to 36%. Yeah.
So that's at a current 400, right?
At a current 400. So if those cut scores go in, but again, that would be across the state.
Yeah, right.
Everybody's gonna be
Yeah,
in those pass rates. So it's just a mind shift change, because that is the reaction you have when you think, 35%. But when you're talking, a 400 was passing and now a 479 is passing, that's a big jump. It's a big jump.
But at the end of the day, what does that accomplish? Like,
Well, then we get rated.
it goes
So,
back into funding?
no, it does not
Doesn't have
tie to
anything to do with
funding. It ties to the new, I think I spoke a little bit about this last year, the new school support and performance framework. It used to be like adequate yearly progress, AYP, school accreditation, now it's called school support and performance framework. And you get points for things. You get points for the students that pass, points for students who show growth from one year to the next, points for those who score past advanced, points for industry accreditation, all the different things, and that culminates into a score that they say is not a grade, but the ratios are very similar to A, B, C, and D. And you get a label, and so all that is based on these scores.
Well, I'm glad I graduated 25 years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, with all that being said, we're doing
Right,
great.
right.
We're doing great. We're gonna weather this no matter what they say. In Richmond, we're gonna weather this, and our kids are getting a great education.
That's right.
Well, you know,
Keep
I
up
know,
the good work.
I know society's changed and they need educated in different things. But I wish they would go back and put more emphasis on the 3 R's that I growed up with, you know, reading, writing, and arithmetic. Because I don't know at the times that I write cursive, I can't print. Son's just the opposite, he prints because he can write cursive, but he'd rather print. I have actually handed people notes and they can't read them.
Yeah.
Because they can't read cursive. I thought, give me a break, you know. The schools is failing them in a lot of ways. I mean, it's not y'all's fault.
And
You
we
gotta do
teach
what the
cursive in
government,
second
yeah,
grade.
thank you,
Yeah.
you know, because you gotta do what the government tells you. But, you know, I think they got their priorities mixed up sometimes.
Well, it's just like Mr. Alls was talking about, there's a lot of state issues that aren't applicable to Floyd. We've got special things happening here,
Right.
and we'll play by all the rules and do what we need to do, but we try to really focus on giving them that good core education.
You got anything, Jerry?
Yes, could you repeat the attendance number?
I had a feeling you might ask that. 16,
Which one y'all
16.
wanna read?
Okay.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you for everybody else.
16.
1616, thank you. And just on the SOLs, the problem with that is it's a continuing problem. The state won't admit they messed up when they started that program, and they keep trying to fix it, and they need to go back to let the teachers teach in the classrooms and let the school system teach the kids.
Yeah, I think if our teachers weren't teaching right now, you would hear all their cheers for that, Mr. Booth.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yep.
It was started as a grading system for the teachers. They took the grading part out of it and left the rest of it, and they won't admit they messed up. They shouldn't have never started that program.
Do you ever get the government to admit a mistake?
I feel. Thank you and the school board for everything you're doing.
Thank you guys for your support.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good one.
You
Two.
I want to let the minutes reflect the Economic Development Authority Board will join us for a joint presentation by Chris Cheatham. I hope I got your last name right. Cheatham.
Chittum. Yeah.
Oh, we're ahead of
We're gonna wait a
schedule
second,
now.
let them enter. The
Okay.
EDA board is gonna enter and have a seat, okay? He has your PowerPoint, if that's good.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's fine, good.
I wanted to tell you, Kim said this wasn't necessary, but I wanted to apologize to you for the last time you was here. It don't happen very often, but lots of times if I get real quiet and don't move, my blood pressure drops
Oh, my gosh.
and my pacemaker has to speed up, kick it back in.
I see.
So I may drop off for a minute or two, but I usually come back. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful.
Okay.
I just wanted to apologize to you for that.
Sorry,
Come
we
on
should
in,
have.
make a new room.
Morning, morning.
Snow plane.
35 degrees.
I was like, I haven't been on Facebook yet this morning.
You your birthdays, didn't you? 35, huh?
See, I guess they made it, right, means they got a quorum there.
Yeah, they got
But they
a,
already did theirs.
Front row here.
So we just go right into the presentation.
Yeah.
So we can just
We'll
go right
hit a
into the
button.
presentation.
because they've already called the meeting to order.
I hope everybody likes looking at you.
Alrighty, we'll turn it over to you.
All right. Well, thank you. My name's Chris Chittum. Good to be with you again this morning. I think it was a couple months ago that we had a kind of check-in earlier on in the process, and we had accomplished quite a number of things, but we're even, of course, farther along now. Let me back up here. I've got a little. Am I going? I'm going the wrong way. The bottom one. Okay, well, that would explain why. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, and then this one goes forward. Okay, gotcha, that makes sense, so where we are in the project, we're getting very near, the end of it, this phase of the project, and we have the, landing gear down, and we're kind of lining up to get a landing here in the next couple of weeks, so, the boundary survey of the property is completed. The title search is complete. We've assessed the challenges and opportunities associated with the property, done all the base mapping. I'll show you some of the road sketches we've done that were, I won't say they were failed, they were just ideas that we didn't pursue. And then we talked in the last meeting about some of the housing types that we recommend in there. So we completed, since the last time we spoke, we completed utility strategy. We've come in with some preliminary cost estimates for the development of the roads and the utilities and whatnot. And come up with phasing ideas, and we've got we settled on three general concepts that we'll share with you this morning, A, B, and C. And so just kind of getting reoriented about this property. The northern half of this property is clearly more suitable for development than the southern part. The southern part has a kind of a creek running through it. I'm not sure it stays wet all the time, but it does present some slopes and then move into the next property to the east. It has the greatest amount of slope. There are some parts that are more have more topography, but certainly as it gets down to it's really not suitable for grading and development. We ran some grades on this. I'll show you those a little bit. Some grading plans. All of the roads came in below the maximum slope that you could have, so that's good. We didn't end up with any extremely steep roads as we put those in. Whoops, sorry. Here I get mixed up again. We're looking at the smallest road that can handle the amount of residential development that you would put on it. So we're looking at an 18-20 foot wide road, basically no parking on the road, but two cars can easily pass. And then our range goes from the low of about 18-20 dwellings up to about 7. And those are the brackets here. And then, so most of the, what we're proposing that you'll see in here are single dwellings. And we have made allotments for townhouses on some of the corner locations. They could just as easily be, if you wanted all single family, we could replace those. But we just showed as proof of concept what you could do in there with a mixed type of housing form. Smallest lot size we have in kind of the highest number of units is a 1/4 acre, and I think that's consistent with your subdivision ordinance. We're looking at mostly conventional. When I say conventional, we're just talking about a street with the house on the other side of it. And we've got a courtyard form that you'll see where we're kind of gathered around a central courtyard. We try to stay out of any of the existing natural drainage ways and avoiding some of the steeper grades. Not completely possible all the time, but we did want to avoid those. We found that some of the smaller recreational opportunities work better because of the grade of the property. Ball field is great, they have to be flat. And there's a real challenge to find that much flat area and do the grading that you need to get those in. But we did have those, at least a ball field in each of the scenarios. And then definitely in any scenario that you see here, they're not necessarily shown on it, but we could work, easily work walking trails, a pavilion, picnic pavilion, playground and that sort of thing into any of the developments, if that's desired. Just again, if you were here last time, you remember this, the green part is basically all one flat area. And that's up at the northern edge of the property. What you're seeing is kind of that salmon colored or orange color. Those are the really steep areas. The little yellow area next to the cul-de-sac there, I think that's Crestview, is the highest point of the property. So that sits up about 40 feet above that water tank that you see above there. And that's on the school property. And so everything kind of flows down to the branch located along the southern edge of the property. Some of the layout studies, these are squigglies here, and you can't really, unfortunately, see the outline of the property, but then you don't need to. But we just looked at a lot of different options where you come in with a loop road and have a cul-de-sac road, come off of that, just running straight extensions of the cul-de-sacs into the property, and a few other options there. Various complexity, some are real simple and some are pretty complicated there. So here's the three concepts that we've settled on, and working from left to right, they have more and more houses and townhouses shown on the property. 18 to 22 on the lowest density one. As we get into the B, which is the medium one, anywhere from 40 to 50, and then 50 to 70, and a little bit more involved option that, and really all of them have the same amount of green space left over at the bottom of them. They're all kind of comparable. A recreational space, I should correct myself, because the ball field's not necessarily green space, but those are all shown in there. And you'll see that that kind of triangle in there showing the footprint of a ball field. Yes.
Top of everything we're looking at the top is the north, everything
Correct.
is the south. I just wanted to
Yeah, good
orient
point.
everybody.
Yeah, sometimes it's not always oriented like that.
Correct. I just wanted everybody to,
Sure. And so for orientation, the school property is it touches this property on the northern edge. And so here are some of the grading plans, not belaboring those, but what we did is we went through and graded out the road, what it looks like to grade out the road, and then to grade out the building pads. And so, this is the bare minimum that you would do. And if you want to create a little bit more gentle slope on some of these sites, which you would see at the end of the cul-de-sac, I'll call it at 1 o'clock there. It's kind of got some steep slopes, so you might want to make that a little bit more gentle, so you would expand that footprint out a little bit. That would end up being a choice of the builder in some cases. They might want to leave it like it is, leave it wooded, because that in and of itself adds value. We'll go in there and grade it. Especially with this one right here, you might be looking at septic fields. So because of its low density, that might be one we need to clear out a additional area just for the septic field to go. The next one, this is B. Again, the footprint of the graded area in these is pretty comparable in all of them. You'll see it's a little bit greater in the third one here. Let's see. So this one right here has a central courtyard, houses around a couple of courtyards there. This one really lends itself to phasing, which we'll look at in just a second. Again, you're seeing the contours on there are very close together on the southern end. just kind of dealing with some of the slope, and then it allows us to leave quite a bit of that property undisturbed on the subdivision. Third scenario here, and this one is more of a grid pattern. It does work with the slope because the slope goes down this way, and so the contour lines are pretty much east to west. And so east to west orientation works pretty well. On the right-hand side there, all these houses would be stepping down the hill from the north going toward the south end of the property. And this is just very conventional here with you build a road and put houses on either side of it. Looking at some of the costs, and I do want to qualify this, we're not quite honed in completely on the costs. They're likely to go up as we keep finding things that we need to put in there. We have a pretty large contingency in there. The contingency, as you plan along, right now it's sitting at 30%. It's a huge contingency because there's a lot of uncertainty. That's like the margin of error, if you will. So we'll bring that down as we hone in on the costs of one of these. But I think the thing to look at is the relative cost. So we look at here, we've got anywhere from $3 million to nearly $3.9 million in utilities, which is that's a lot. When you look at the per house cost, it gets a little bit more manageable and it's understandable. But we're still looking at a considerable amount of cost for just the utilities. What we're speccing here is a community well system that could be tied into the public system at some later point. There are a host of issues that come up with tying into some of the existing systems with pressure and getting it up the hill, and because the yellow part that I pointed out earlier, it sits higher than any part of the water system. I went the wrong way. Here, the medium one, the costs are, I'm sorry, this is not the medium, this is for the different aspect of it. This is for grading, for the roads, for stormwater. Actually, this ends up being less than the utilities. And the range here is 1.8. 9 million up to a high of 2.7. And non-construction costs, this is engineering, this is things like geotechnical, environmental studies, permitting, fees, all those sorts of things, and soft costs as we call them. Also has that contingency in there. And so you see that figure is pretty high as well, and that's comparable to actually so all told, we're looking at development costs ranging from 6.1 up to $8.25 million. Again, as you divide that by the number of units you get, that comes down to something you can understand what it really means. If we're looking at workforce housing, we're generally looking at under 200. And so you can see the math is challenging for a market rate development, just kind of out of the box. However, that just tells us that we need to get some help. We need to seek utility and road building assistance from other sources to get that per unit cost down. Keep in mind, just want to stress this does not include the houses. This is just to put the pads in, the road to get to it, and the utilities to serve it. So we haven't poured the foundation or done any of that. These are the kind of what I call the dressed up versions of the plans here. And so we're showing house footprints. In the background, you can kind of see where the building pads have been finished out. This sits over the aerial of the woods, basically, that are there. So you can see that quite a bit of the property remains in woods. with this scenario. Here, even more so, on the south, with the exception of the ball field shadow that you see there, as well as the playground and a pavilion, a small parking area, a little southern end. As soon as we kind of settle in and lock in one of these scenarios, we come up with a great, another idea, a variation. There's actually a variation of this would actually bring some of the costs down. I didn't want to confuse things yet, but we'll include that in the final report. And then the higher unit count version here. Again, we're trying to just stay out of some steeper slopes, so that's why you'll see kind of things like they get cut off at the southern end there, and then there's nothing going on along the western edge of the property because it's just so steep and it's difficult to deal with some of those. That's just a little bit. Again, that helps you keep some of the natural drainage ways undisturbed as well. Phasing, some scenarios lend themselves to phasing more so than others. This one, just because of the number of units and the way the road's configured, it makes no sense just to do more than half of it with the first phase. Just coming in and kind of doing that loop road to get in there, and then the second phase would be to drive that road back into the eastern part of the project property there. Here, first phase is pretty small and manageable, and you'll see that in the next one as well. So really six houses and a bunch of 4 townhouses will be in the first phase, and then taking down the 2 courtyards in the second phase, and then a simple line along that central courtyard as the third phase. And this one has more phases, so there's more houses. So we'll manageable pieces that we try to do divide this into. Again, the phasing strategy here and the one here are almost identical, just a few more houses. And as you can see, there's a ball field with this one as well. And so next steps, we got one little piece that we need to get into this ALTA survey. If you're not familiar with the ALTA survey, that is the highest level. So it's tied with the title report in the survey, and it's the highest level of confidence that you can get. So from this project, you'll walk away with a very, very good, reliable survey in hand. Physical analysis, we'll start working on that, as well as the development funding strategy. Obviously, we're thinking about some of this already, but to get it down on paper, and then to refine these costs to make sure that we give you pretty reliable cost estimates. Again, they're all relative, and that's the thing to look at this point. It's like, well, what's the difference between A, B, and C in terms of the development costs? And as you can see, they go up just in pure numbers with the more involved development, but then the per unit cost comes down a lot with the more units. So we're looking at that because of that. Some version of B and C or C, and really one thing we've learned, it's probably best just to look at the northern edge, more than 2/3 of this parcel for the residential development, and reserve southern part for recreational uses, and just leaving it natural, and putting trails in there that becomes an amenity for both the community and the larger Floyd community. So the way this would pan out going forward is basically you do what any developer does, is come up with a master plan for the full development that you want to see, and then kind of get locked in with that. And that when normally a developer will come to the county and say, hey, I'd like to get my preliminary subdivision plat approved, and then that locks, once it is, that does not have all the detail. That means that it is permitted and they are able to pursue that development plan for up to 5 years before it expires. And then you can come in and you're not actually subdividing property at that point. Then you come in and take this, say, first phase, record that subdivision plan, develop that part out, and you're ready to move on to the next part. So you'll see this phasing piece with subdivisions happen in a few years before full build out, or sometimes it could be 50 years. And we see that happen a lot. It's like when the time's ready, when the market is ready, if you will, or when funding comes along, that's when you pursue the next piece of it. So it's not an all or nothing proposition. One thing we will run here is what is the estimated cost for just that first phase? And so that kind of gives you an idea of what your bill's going to be immediately, and it helps you pursue funding from that standpoint. So that's the last one I have. Wanted to leave plenty of time for less time for me just talking here, but and plenty of time for you to ask questions and to give me any ideas that or areas that you want me to study a little further or find more out about. So appreciate you having me with you.
You have anything down there?
Just really appreciate the thoroughness of the report and what you've outlined. It is, to say the least, sobering to look at those numbers and see them. But, I mean, I appreciate the fact that you're already on looking for areas of funding through grants and such, I'm sure. Thank you.
I think one thing it helps us do is to understand why the housing development market has slowed down so much.
Yeah.
It's very expensive and it's pretty involved puzzle to put together.
Yeah.
And when you can't rely, you're relying on the bank next door to fund your project that you're gonna be on the hook for, you gotta have a sure thing.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Jerry, do you have anything?
Oh, yeah, I got several things. I just wanted to make sure that I understood correctly, because I am on about a 2-minute delay here, but I'll be quick. You said the roads that we're proposing were between 18 and 20 feet wide, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and if I understood, none of what you've got displayed goes into the current drainage, natural drainage. Is that correct?
I think that there's a drainage way that kind of runs north to south. In the back of some of the properties are probably going to be touching that, but for the most part, we stayed out of the one that was identified on the survey that comes into the southern part of the property and goes out on the southern part of the property.
And you were looking at, now this didn't include the houses, but basically your total cost is anywhere from 6.1 to 8.2 million, depending on how it's done.
That's
or
correct.
how we choose to move forward.
That's correct.
Okay. There's one thing that concerns me, and it's not in your presentation here, but it's in the report that was put on our, to the board, part of our package. And I don't know if Danny can put it up or not.
You have it, Danny.
It's the one from Ladina. And it's the maximum income limits.
Oh, yes.
Yes. It's in the packet. Jerry, you
It's in
said,
our
is that the
board
one in the packet?
Yes, the one in the board packet that
I
was
got it.
from Ladina.
I'll send it to
Okay.
Danny right now, we'll put it up.
Okay, please.
Got it.
Got it up? Okay.
No, I've got it. No, I mean, sorry, Jerry. I just found it in my packet.
Oh, okay.
We're still working on it.
Well, anyway, while that's going on, I'll get, since there's a delay, you know, maximum income limit with CDBG for one person is 49,400. For two people is 56,450. Now, one of the things we were looking at in this project was to, you know, so our school system could reach out to, you know, teachers. I dare say that if you've got two inexperienced teachers, they're gonna exceed the 56,450 on that number. I guess, and I don't see anything in this, but how much, you know, what's the total amount we would be asking CDBG for?
We can ask for 2 million, per phase. And that would be not to build the houses themselves, but for the utilities, road and grading work. And my understanding, and I'm waiting for clarification from them, but my understanding is that 51% of the houses would need to be occupied by people meeting this income standard shown here. So that means, you know,
49.
49, 40, whatever, some other percent would be able to have a higher income standard. The workforce housing name, which is just kind of what we've been using for this, it typically goes up to 120% of area median income. So area median income is just over 88,000, so that would get you up well over 100,000. So if you're thinking about the two teacher scenario, maybe is what you're thinking about. I would think that particularly younger teachers, teachers who had not been teaching a really long time would probably fall in that category.
Same thing with starting out nurses and, you know, law enforcement officers, same thing.
Maybe CNAs, I'm not sure about, not registered nurses might exceed this, but we got lots more CNAs in
Yes,
the
we
county
do.
than we do registered nurses in terms of working in the county.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Well, you understand my concern in that situation. You know, I understand the affordable housing range, and I understand our median income and how it's calculated, the way it's always been calculated through the years. But, you know, sometimes, so basically if we went, let's say we did 10 houses or 6 houses, if we did 6 houses, then 4 of them would have to be fit in this category.
Yes.
Is that what, and same thing, no matter what the number, one more than whatever half is would have to fit into the category
That's correct,
to,
yes.
to obtain this CDBG funding, correct?
That's right, yes.
I understand how they calculate our median income, and it's always been a sticking point with me. You could have 10 people in this county, and we probably do, that bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. On the other end of the spectrum, you've got people that are lucky to be bringing 30,000 in, but you understand where I'm coming from. The numbers can get skewed. I just don't want this. If $2 million or whatever is what we can get out of this for this project, I don't want this. I don't know if it's worth the $2 million to put us in that situation where we might not be able to the people we're trying to reach. I just want us to be very careful in that.
I hear what you're saying, Jerry.
And that was just my fault.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I know that there are some seniors that probably would fall into the categories that we're talking about here. that also need housing in our community. I dare say, I would be surprised if we didn't have people that would be willing to fit into these categories.
Probably a lot of county staff.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Well, I just wanna make sure we're.
No, I agree.
just wanted to bring that point out
Very true.
and make sure that we don't get ourselves locked into something that knocks us out of reaching the people we're trying to reach.
May I ask, your estimates, they include the DEQ work for stormwater? Cause I imagine we're gonna be pushing the 1 acre. And there's no
Yes, we
storm,
do.
is there a catchment pond or anything?
Yes,
in
we
there?
we have a factor.
Okay.
That's in the road construction drainage.
Okay.
And, yeah, road construction drainage
Utilities,
and grading.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
package.
I feel with the EDA members also.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear it, Belinda.
I was just verifying that the DEQ stormwater stuff was included in these costs, and it is.
Okay.
Yeah, Chris, thank you for all this information. The, on the, recreation areas for all three of the concepts, is there a, more of a specific cost related to that development in those figures that you provided? Like, for example, concept B, where the ball field and stuff is on the south end, and we know that's the more, slopey areas and so forth. Is there a cost associated, or a higher cost to develop those areas for the recreation?
We did not address the cost of any of those facilities because it would be outside of the scope of the grant
Okay.
that you got. That is something that we have capability of doing, but it's not within the scope of the project. So I think the one where you saw the ball field down at the southern part,
Yeah.
that's gonna be more expensive
Okay.
because there's more grade down there to deal with, and you gotta get it practically flat. The part that is up at the north is a lot flatter. You know, that's where we were first talking about putting the ball fields, but it makes you do some wacky things that, like, as soon as you come in, you gotta hang a right. And,
Right.
and so, it's a trade-off.
Right.
And so, and there may be indeed another pot of funds to, you know, there are all kinds of recreational funding, grants and things
So
like
we
that
should-
that you might pursue.
We should bear in mind that none of the concepts, none of the cost speculated to us have anything to do with anything related to recreation.
Correct.
Right. It's just on the picture, but it's not
That's right.
involved, okay.
Yeah, and our scope is to make sure that there's room for it. So that's why we put those in there, just as placeholders and someplace, honestly, I like the one where you come in on the southern cul-de-sac and there's, like, it's just in and out there and.
Yeah, number
it's kinda
B.
Isolated, not isolated, but it has one point of access. And then you gotta cross a creek down there, and so doing that with the driveway is a lot more cost effective than it's gonna be with the road.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the reason that recreation estimates aren't in this is because Virginia
Yeah.
Housing funded the work, and so that was the.
Y'all got any questions?
I have a comment. Can I make a comment about it, or? Okay. I think that, there could possibly be use of the lower area, as a fire pond, you know, for fire water, you know, and things like that, and there's grants through the Army Corps for things like that, and it's also a cool recreation thing. And possibly some of those houses fall more a little above the medium and a higher density for more of our medium we're going after is probably the answer. to some of those problems with balancing everything, like Blue Ridge Manor. You know, that's more cost-effective living, unfortunately, than building out lots. It's really hard to do. And most of the neighborhoods that are built like that fall more into a little bit above average, unfortunately. So if there was a way to add some higher density housing, I think it could balance a little better.
You got anything else, Jerry?
No, sir, not at this time. Just want to thank everybody for their work on this.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Good point, Robert, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Yeah,
Yep.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll let the minutes reflect that the Economic Development Authority will resume their meeting and we'll resume our regular board meeting at this time. David, you're the next victim, I reckon. You're the one that gets fussed at all the time,
So just some of the maintenance things we've been working on, and one construction item is, maintenance has been focusing on, we've been, trying to get a little bit of everything, but really we've focused on just finally making a big push to get all the debris cleaned up, mostly in the check area. There was some in the Willis area, but we've got pretty much, there's probably still some isolated spots that might have some left over, or may not even be from the storm. There's just normal trees down over a weekend kind of thing. But I think we've got most of the stuff done and cleaned up in the Commerce Park and everything. So I got a big long list of the debris cleanup roads we got that I won't get into. But then there's a normal kind of some some mowing attachment. We've done we got the primary mowing, the secondary mowing is starting. Already started a little bit. We did do some brush cutting around. Got the behind the guardrail there on 221. We finished Reedsville. The, construction project looks really good. Hope Road had finished earlier, so we'll start on the next one, at least getting the right of way and everything. We are, now that the brush is cleaned up, we are working with the property owner on Lick Ridge to get that turnaround built here this fall for the winter. And that should do it, other than just the the stuff that we did. We worked gravel roads, did some patching. Indian Valley Kennedy School, Indian Valley Post Office Road, ditching on 615, and like I said, just a little bit of everything here and there. But really the big push was get that storm finally up. Brought in the big grapple trucks. We did all that back to try to get all those done.
Start on this in the
Alright, thank you, David, for all your work and the crews, as always. I was contacted by a constituent in concern about 615 Christiansburg Pike. The need, as we have talked about, for the guardrail between the Little River Bridge property southeastward into town before you get to Bluebird, those curves in there. We've had vehicles go off the road, we've lost someone there, and it's something that I've talked about on a couple of occasions to you. And it's been brought up again to at least study it or somehow figure out if it's a possibility. It is a safety concern. Also, there are some roads that could probably use, if there is any of that safety money out there here in this county. I know Bethlehem Church is one of them. There are some areas on that road that could benefit from some of those chevrons and the safety program the state was, putting around. I would appreciate that. And just general upkeep here and there. I appreciate everybody's work, and I guess, have you done your snowplow checks and stuff yet?
We're coming up on that. October is generally our prime.
Okay, 18 out of 31 fogs in August,
Wow.
okay?
Yeah.
Usually doesn't bode well for winter.
Yeah. Still watching for the worms, the woolly bears, and see.
Yeah, well, I'm just telling you. Also, I really do appreciate all the work that's been done on all the secondary roads. There are still some that are, every time you go out and do one and we get a rain, the potholes appear again. So if we could have just a really, conscientious ride through all the time of all our roads, it's very much appreciated.
Jerry?
Yes, want to thank you for the work on Route 8. Definitely must have been a different painting crew than it was in town. So I want to thank you. The brush cutting and the mowing's moving along, and I noticed that the blowers are actually blowing the grass out of the road now. So, want to thank you for that. Do you know, I talked to Chris, they were going to try to do some grading work on that old mill road where it's washing into the driveway at the end of it. That's old mill off of 615. If you don't know, could you check into that, see if he did get down there and get somebody to try and help those people out?
I'll check on that. He may have probably spoke directly to the superintendent there.
Oh, all right. And just want to thank you for the work you're doing. And it's a busy time, and everybody's doing all they can. So please pass on the appreciation to our crews.
All right, thank you.
Freeland?
Yeah, I got a couple things. First, thank you for all that you're doing. Had some folks really give some compliments to y'all on Ponderosa and Stewart. Y'all got out there, fixed some potholes, did some grading work, and they were very appreciative of that. So I thank you for checking on that. Diamond Knob, still getting a few calls on that about the road condition on Diamond Knob. If y'all can maybe give that some look. Wilson Cemetery, y'all had fixed some potholes over the last 6 months or so, but they seem to the same ones just seem to keep popping up. So, and it's sort of in a curve. So I know folks are dodging them and trying to miss them, but it's bringing them into the other lane of traffic. So might check on that. And two personal observations. Sunny Ridge on the Bethlehem Church side of it, which is Linda's district, but I just wanted to give a compliment. That is the best that's looked in, a long
It's on the
time.
list of the ones that work. Yeah, so I'll see who was on the.
Yeah, it's got ditches and it's got a crown to the road. It is prime time. Looks like a Interstate 81 through there. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that for the time being. And then I've just noticed some of my travels in the Czech area. Over the last few months, they had a couple of culvert replacements that they did like within 1 or 2 days. Some of those same areas I've noticed, one particularly, because I pass it all the time, it's right below my house on Daniels Run, but it's almost like it's settling, and you can feel the bump when you pass over those patches where they redid those culverts. I just wondered over time if that's gonna become more of a significant problem or not.
They'll probably check on that. Sometimes they'll build it up when they do it, so that it does settle.
Okay.
If it's level, sometimes they'll just come back and patch over.
Okay, 'cause I know that they did that one earlier this summer, and it just seems like it's down quite a bit.
Okay.
And then last one, I know I threw a lot at you this morning, but the last one, another personal observation, in between Bethlehem Church and what I call Radar Hollow, up towards Kennedy School, again in Linda's district, but they're going around the curve coming into the by Sweet Providence. there is a dip or something going on. It's not a pothole, but there's something going on. Or you hit that thing at 50, 55, or if you're going faster, it'll about knock you out of the road there, especially if you're in a stiffer, bigger truck.
What about that on?
221, yeah, Floyd Highway. So around the curve there in Sweet Providence. But if y'all can maybe just check that, because somebody had told me about it, but I came through last night in a bigger truck, a 3500 with a stiffer suspension, and I was probably running 55, maybe 62. But I hit that thing, and boy, it about shot me over to the left lane there.
So you were heading east
I was headed north,
Okay.
towards Copper Hill.
towards Copper Hill, so in that lane.
Yeah, so, but that's all I got. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for all the work you've been doing. I know that your guys are pretty covered up. Just wanna ask again about striping of the secondary roads, like that end of Duncan's Chapel up towards Indian Valley.
Yeah, we turned those in, I don't know if they're gonna approve some of those,
Right.
that's a weird spot that they could just stopped at one point, and then they could do another on a couple tenths of a mile.
Right, and then the pavement edges are falling off a lot of the roadways. So just around, pretty much every road I drive,
Yeah, watch the edges,
yeah.
yeah. I got a note on 615, just two points, the edges over there.
Yeah.
Alright.
Is that all you got? Okay. First off, I wanna thank you for that guardrail. I don't know where that switchgrass come from, but that stuff could grow a foot overnight, I believe.
It's like
Um,
Ted's, except it was straight up.
Yep.
When I looked to the north, it's right at the end of that curve, so you gotta pay attention there, but when I look towards Hillsville, you get about a quarter mile visibility, but then that switchgrass overnight shoots up. You have to pull out the road to see, but I really appreciate y'all cutting that back. You get a chance to check on that on the manual road, where that, me and you went and looked
Yeah.
at, and
They know, I asked our superintendent to go out and speak to
Okay.
him to make sure he gets it right, and then
yeah, I forgot about that just now, I thought about it.
I'll double check with him and see if it's done. I think it'd be easier, it'd be good for the superintendent and even the equipment operator to talk with him so they
Right.
can show exactly what they'd like.
Figure out what he
I told him
needs.
make it look like it used to look.
Yeah. But, like everybody else in the county, my roads needs a machine on it, cause, the first probably quarter mile of Reese Road, when you turn off, Sugar Tree, and it's rugged going, once you cross the bridge going up, cause the water jumps the ditches and it's,
And then that goes dry for a while,
Yeah.
actually, too.
yeah, and well, a lot of the roads is like my driveway, I've had to scrape it so much, I don't have much gravel on it.
Yeah.
But, then, just machine work and, just general maintenance. Still worries me the way the roads are closing in. I know there's nothing y'all can do about that, but last couple of mornings gives us a warning of things to come, I reckon.
I have one more thing.
Doctor, or, are you doctors one?
Doctor, yeah.
Here's the video said a while ago,
Jacket.
it depends on which weather forecast you listen to. Old Farmer's Almanac says, we will get cold and snow, and then the next one says we're gonna be above normal, and so I reckon we just take what good Lord gives us,
Yeah.
but, if we have a lot of ice, I think we're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, that's gonna be the thing.
I have one more thing.
Yeah.
Dust control that used to be done on our unpaved roads,
Mhm.
can we return to doing some of
Yeah,
that?
they'll be doing something this fall for sure.
Um,
And they know the routes that they usually do.
well, I just remembered, I have one in your district and one in yours. Somebody reached out about Woodbury, I sent something out this morning. It's just really bad between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Connor Grove Road. It's a cut-through road a lot of times, and it's just got a lot of holes, a lot of pavement that's just gone away, and it's something else. And I was on Duncan Valley Road the other day, and
Duncan's Chapel?
Huh?
Duncan's Chapel?
no,
Oh,
Duncan Valley
the dirt
Road.
one, yeah.
Yeah, that's a dirt road.
That's
And,
rugged year round.
huh?
That's rugged year round.
Yeah, I know, I was just gonna say, if you had a grader, I don't know how they managed that on that road, but it's, it could probably use some in some areas where the creeks are coming into it. Otherwise, it was kinda good, I can't imagine how a bus gets down there, but they tell me it does.
It's a little rustic.
Yeah, that was one of the most rustic roads I mean, it rivals Diamond Knob. Levi, I'm sure you know about it.
Oh, yeah.
Ride horses down there,
Better for
don't you?
horses.
I'd say.
Not in Slaughter Hill.
There's their problem.
Thank you.
You got anything else, Jerry?
No, sir, just thank him for what he does.
Can't believe that one more
We
thing.
took all his one more thing.
Appreciate your work,
Thank you.
David.
Thank you.
See you, David, thank you.
All right, next we have Jim Martin, the Regional Sales Manager.
What number is this on our hymnal?
You don't look like a Jim.
8E.
Yes, I'm sorry, yes, 80.
8E.
There should, should say PowerPoint,
Yeah.
which is up right here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Stephanie Lozana. I'm the branch manager for Mid-Atlantic Truck and Equipment located in Salem, Virginia. We today have my team with me. This is Jim Martin behind me. He is our regional sales manager for Southwest Virginia. And then we also have Sean Gottwald with Marathon, representing the products today. We recently were asked to provide a quote to Floyd County for 2 compactors by Mark Bolt. We were able to provide you those quotes through our Sourcewell contract, which means that we essentially were able to give you the best possible pricing for municipality rates. So talking about the compactors, the ones that we quoted to you are called the RJ450 stationary compactor. Essentially what that means is it's stationary. The compactor itself does not move. The only thing that does move away from the site is the container, and you can kind of see it in the back of this picture right here. But that first picture right there on the left is without the container in front of it. And then just to talk a little bit more about the RJ450 specs, I think one of the main reasons why Mark liked this compactor in particular, because there's many different models, sizes, and stuff like that, was because of the charge chamber size. The charge chamber is essentially where the trash goes into the compactor itself. It's a 60-inch by 67.5-inch wide charge chamber, which is pretty decent size. It's one of the largest size charge chambers that they offer. It has a little over 56,000 pounds of crushing force, so that ram that pushes the trash and compacts it in, that's 56,000 pounds. It also has a 50-second cycle time, which means from the time that you hit the start button, it moves forward, it comes back in 50 seconds. So less than a minute, you've compacted the trash that's inside of the compactor. They come standard with a 3-button remote mount control station. That's what you're gonna see down there on the bottom right of your screen. It's not the best image, but it's the best one I could find right now. The top is gonna be like your key switch. The middle button right there is your e-stop. They're always red. And then the bottom one is just kind of your start button. You just hold it, and like I said, it goes out, it kicks back in. So key operated is one of the safety features. We'll talk about that on the next slide. It's fully automatic, meaning you don't have a forward and reverse button. It hits the limit switch and it kicks it back automatically. So the unit knows when to come back. You don't have to sit there and hit forward and hold it down or hit reverse. There's some older styles that you'll see out there like that, but with this particular unit, fully automatic. Warranties on this, you get a 3-year structural warranty, 2-year parts warranty, and 1-year labor warranty. Your cost savings on this comes in our container. This is the back side of this, a different view. Essentially you get a 3-to-1 dumpster ratio with a 40-yard container. You can fit about 15 compacted dumpsters inside of the 40-yard container. Now that also depends on the materials that go inside of it. I've seen couches go inside of compactors at Goodwill. We don't want to do that. But it can compact a couch essentially. Your fuel savings is gonna be your biggest savings here. You only need one trip to haul 3 times the amount of trash. So let's say you have a green box site is what we call them, where the dumpsters are at. And your garbage truck is going out there once a week to haul that. He would essentially only need to go out there once every 3 weeks if you continue to get the same amount of trash on a regular basis, okay? So it's reducing the amount of time that your truck has to go out there. So next one, it reduces the hauling trips.
Yep.
Less time at the site to pick up one container. These front load garbage trucks that go out there, if you have, let's just say 10 dumpsters on one side, he's going around, he's dumping, he's packing, he's dumping, he's packing. I mean, he could spend maybe an hour out there on the site. With one of these, nope, the driver just gets out, they unhook their marriage hooks, they pull the container up, they put another container in its place, that site keeps rolling all day long. Next thing, so safety was a big thing that I heard about on the list, so we're gonna talk about the operations and ANSI is how I say it, Safety Features, American National Standards Institute. You'll see a little bit that OSHA has to say regarding compactors, but it's mainly the ANSI guidelines that we follow, and ANSI certifications that we follow. So all machines are equipped with safety interlock devices. On the 450, that's your e-stop. One essential accessory that should be always kept within easy reach of a compactor is a long rod or staff. Essentially, what we don't want is your site attendants going in there and pushing trash in, or any of your residents putting their hands anywhere near the moving parts. So what we have, most people, I've seen broomsticks, I've seen just metal rods. They'll get out there and they'll just kind of maneuver the trash to push it and make sure it's all inside of the charge chamber, not falling over the side or something like that, rearranging stuff. That's something that you want to just keep on hand. When maintenance and repairs are performed, it's essential that strict lockout, tagout procedures are in place. All of these compactors have a quick disconnect and an on-off switch. You can just turn that off, put you a little padlock on it, it stops the whole compactor from even operating until a repair technician can get out there. You have a minimum loading height of about 42 inches. It can go higher, but it has to be at least 42 inches high. This prevents anybody from falling over into it easy. And that's just standard for any kind of guardrails or anything like that if you were to look at building some of that too. Sustained manual pressure controls located in a way that the operator cannot reach the point of operation and within an area fully visible to the operator. So what that means is if we were to go back and look at that control up there that's mounted on the side of the compactor. So on the left side of the screen, you see a power unit. This is where all the power comes from right there. You got your motor and your pump and stuff. Then you have a remote located control station. So he can see right there when he turns it on, he's far enough away from the moving components because all of that's covered there. The charge chamber's up at the front, but he can essentially turn it on and then push his button. He is far enough away to be able to see it, but still stay safe at the same time. And then we have just, in general, compactor safeguards. You have access covers. Sometimes you'll see access covers on the top of compactors. They're just bolted down, or on the back side. This is for really your repair technicians. You don't want people going in there messing with this, your residents and stuff like that. Or a maintenance guy that might be coming in to clean it out or something. You have your electric start buttons that shall be designed to prevent unintentional activation. Meaning you can't just hit the start button without turning the key switch on. It's a two-step process there. Nobody's gonna accidentally hit the key switch and turn it on at the same time. It's designed like that to make sure that safety is in mind. Your operating controls shall be located to prevent unintentional activation. So you don't want it just sitting up there next to where people are dumping in their trash and stuff like that. It might hit an elbow or something like that. So we mount it a little bit farther away, like I said, still visible, still within reach. Maintenance. And this is per ANSI guidelines. A regular maintenance routine that follows manufacturer guidelines should be put into place for any on-site trash compactor, and repairs should be performed as needed. When a need for compactor repairs has been identified, the equipment should not be operated and placed into lockout tagout status.
Now, on to Mid-Atlantic and what we can offer to Floyd County. Mid-Atlantic offers a routine maintenance plan. Essentially what we do is we take all the stress off of your maintenance technician's hands, and off of your hands as well. We keep up with the schedule. We start out on an annual basis for new compactors. Unless you continue to have some warranty issues or something like that, and we'll come out a little bit more regularly to check on it and just do a basic inspection. We're not out there repairing anything, we're just inspecting it for you. What we do is we tell you, we come back and we say, hey, you know, this looks like it's getting a little worn, maybe we should replace it. And we try to provide some kind of plan for you so you guys can prepare and know if it's something major. We start looking at 5 years, we start looking at the wear items. Anything that moves is gonna have some kind of wear item with it, okay? So we really don't start looking at that until about the 5-year mark. Those can be some major repairs on them. It's a lot more major than just going out there and replacing a push button or something like that. That takes our technicians about 30 minutes to do. So that's when we start planning with you guys and kind of allowing you to develop what you want to do and what you want your future to look like with your unit. If issues are identified, we do submit a quote for you so that way you know what you're looking at. Just some of the most common repairs that we see on site are hydraulic hose replacements. As I said, there's 56,000 pounds of crushing force there. So that's a lot of pressure going through your hydraulic lines. And hoses do bust. They bust on everything. They bust on your garbage trucks too. So it's just a most common replacement. The second one, really should have switched these two, but it would be electrical issues. And I say electrical issues because you have condensation. It gets hot, it gets cold, it gets hot, it gets cold. Condensation builds up inside of the control panel and the actual box itself on your power unit. Sometimes that can cause some electrical issues. We can come out. We've got great electricians that can help identify these issues and replace them. And then last but not least, cleanouts. It does get trash in it. It is trash. You'll see it get behind the ram and it kind of builds up over time. Usually we suggest doing at least an annual clean out on each compactor. That's just taking and putting it in lockout tagout mode, removing the access panels and then getting in there and scooping out the trash and throwing it right back to the front of that ram right there. Depending on the amount of debris that's inside of there, this could take anywhere from an hour to about a 4-hour day to get it all cleaned out and back into working specs. As long as you clean it out, you have the best chance of lifespan on your unit. So that is all I have today. Wow. Do you guys have any questions for me?
What is, speaking of lifespan, what do you find to be in general, and I know this is a broad brush on painting with, because each locality is different, but in general, what do you find the lifespan on one of these models to be?
I typically see them, I can see them last anywhere from about 20 to 30 years.
Okay.
It depends on how well you take care of it. Do you clean it out?
Right.
Are you greasing stuff? Are you, keeping up with the maintenance and stuff like that? I mean, it is made out of metal too, so one of the things that we look at when we go out and inspect your unit is the floors and to look for any rusting or anything like that. So we try to get ahead of that stuff. If we see that it's starting to rust or something, we might try to grind it down and put some primer paint on it or something like that to kind of save the life of it.
Okay.
You have anything, Jerry?
Yes, several things. All right, on your, as far as your inspections, you do that under a contract with us, an additional contract?
I can type up a contract. We actually have very good working relationships with all the counties in Southwest Virginia. I don't necessarily have a contract with Montgomery County or Amherst. They're the first ones that we're kicking off this inspection program with this year.
Oh.
But we're working through it and just kind of seeing how it goes with how does this work with looking at the plans and stuff like that. So far, we have a lot of satisfaction in the program itself. Otherwise, we have repair technicians on the road 24/7 and they're able to come out and meet your needs at any time, whenever you are ready for it.
Then what are your inspection costs per visit?
So we typically say it takes about an hour for one of our technicians to go through the whole checklist. I don't have a copy of that provided with me today, but it is about a 4-page checklist. we go through every little nick and cranny on both the container and the compactor itself, because we're looking at the bottom of the compactor, the bottom of the container, the rollers on it and stuff like that. So we say if you give us about an hour, then we can get at least one compactor completed.
So based on an hourly rate?
Yes, that's,
Okay, and that's gonna vary depending on the technician that's sent, I take it.
well, all of our technicians go through the same training process, so,
Okay,
yeah, it shouldn't take longer than an hour.
alright, how often, it talks about once when you get age, you start doing inspections every 6. How long do you just an average number, because it's gonna vary, but how long do you do the annual inspections before you start the 6 month?
Usually at about, so we're coming out annually, at the 4-year mark, we look at it, let's see what the wear and tear is like on it. If it's in good and great condition, we'll carry that out to the 5th year. And we kind of really just base that on what's the condition of the unit. I have seen some units that's been out there that's 10 years old that are in better condition than units that are 5 years old. So it really just depends on what it's looking like at the time that we go out there. I say about the 5-year mark because about 5 years is when you really want to start looking at those wear items. But even once we do the wear items, then we're back to more of an annual basis. So we just want to take care of the problems and get ahead of it before you have some major breakdown and then, you can't put trash in it and it might take a while to get out there to get those repairs done.
And so my next question is gonna be dependent on what needs repairing, but do you have like an average response time?
I take pride in the fact that we try to respond to every call within a 48-hour period. Now, we typically don't work on weekends unless you specifically request an overtime call out or an emergency call out. But we do try to meet our customers' needs within 48 hours. Now, that does not necessarily mean that we'll get it fixed within 48 hours, but at least we can have a diagnosis. And we do keep stock trucks with parts on it, so if it is something that we do have in stock, we will fix it on site at that time.
Okay, and with the various, one of the big components of this is the electrical and hydraulics.
Yeah.
As you said, condensation, and I noticed from the pictures, everything, it has covers and whatever, but I'm guessing that weather has a big impact on these units as well overall, doesn't it?
It can. These enclosure boxes that you see right there, they're called a NEMA 4, I think it is. Enclosure, which means that it's going to protect it from all kinds of weather. But we do see when it gets hot outside during the day and then it gets really cool at night and then you come in the mornings and you have condensation that does build up. And there's not really much that we can do to protect from that. But for the most part, they're fully enclosed enclosures and rainwater's not going to get inside of them or anything like that.
Right, and I guess most of them have, some kind of rubber seal or whatever that's part of the maintenance inspection as well, wouldn't it be?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, that's all I had right now.
Jeremy?
I do. Thank you for the information. So you said, the size of that can handle, 15 dumpsters or green boxes?
Roughly about 15 dumpsters can fit, compacted dumpsters
So
can
if I
fit
had-
inside of the 40-yard
So
container.
if we have a green box site with 15 green boxes currently, that's about as equal to one full,
Compacted
correct.
load.
that's pretty impressive. Yeah.
It
Pretty
is.
impressive. And then real quick too, so I got a pretty good understanding of the machine itself, but can you give a little background, just like y'all's company, how long you've been around? And so I assume you're a distributor for the
We are.
product, right?
We sell heavy equipment, all types. We started in Easton, Maryland in the garbage truck business, in 1985. They have expanded along the East Coast, since then. We have, I believe it's 9 different locations. It continues to grow all the time. But as far as Mid-Atlantic is concerned, we are considered one of the smaller branches out of all of Mid-Atlantic. We don't have as dense of a population as DC area and Chesapeake and Pittsburgh and stuff like that. But if you were to look at a map and you took a circle and drew it out on our AR, we have one of the largest AORs. Now, I've been with the company for 11 years now. I started at the bottom and worked my way up to branch manager. So I'm very proud of the company that I work for. We do great things. We keep trash off the ground. We have, we do street sweepers, we do garbage trucks, we do roll-off trucks. I mean, anything that keeps trash off the ground. So we're keeping our community beautiful. So that's what we do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can we get 10 of them?
10 of them? Sure.
Sell it down.
I have,
You know, I was sitting there thinking that, I agree with you, I wish we could buy 10 of them, you know. When I first heard compactor, I started getting all these horror pictures in my mind. But I agree with Mark. You know, I think that's what we need right now. And just in the savings on gas, or not gas, but diesel and wear and tear on the trucks, you know, they'll pay for themselves in a few years.
Not having front loader garbage trucks in itself is a huge savings.
And as far as our workers getting hurt, picking up this trash that people throws outside the boxes, you know, it would be a good safety thing for them. But after seeing it and realizing how it works, I don't see no kid accidentally getting in one or anything like that, you know, cause that's the first thing that hit my mind, you know, so.
Yeah. Now, I understand there needs to be a site attendant is what we call it, just one person, that goes out there and just hits the button occasionally throughout the day.
Well, another thing I was thinking, it don't take up as much room,
That's true.
you know, and it'll cut down on
space.
what it's gonna cost us to prepare a site.
Yeah, right.
You know, I was just sitting here thinking, you know, we got a couple of sites in mind, maybe one of them could be a compactor.
Do you know if those current sites, are they asphalt? Or do they have asphalt or do they have concrete?
Got nothing now.
They got dirt.
You know,
They have dirt.
they just raw land, we just now getting started.
You're just getting started, okay.
yeah.
And these have to be mounted to concrete, as you can see right there, that's a concrete slab. Outside of that, it's asphalt. So as long as the pad itself is level with concrete, then you're good. Cause what we do is we anchor it, oh, I'm sorry. We
No,
anchor
what's the
it
size
in-
of the slab?
It's
6
in there,
inches.
6 inches deep.
No, I know deep, but how, does it have to be a certain,
You ain't dimensions.
So it typically is 10 foot wide
okay,
and then 5 foot longer than the overall length of
that's
the
what I'm looking
equipment.
for, okay.
And the reason why we want it to be 5 foot longer than the overall length so that the rear axles of the truck when they're loading up are on good solid platforms.
Sure.
6 inch steel reinforced 3,000 PSI and then 10 foot wide and 5 foot longer than
Yeah,
the
that's in one
overall
of the
length, which is
slides.
a 450 case, probably looking at 14 foot, 30, probably 40 feet, right at 40 feet.
And I will tell you, you can get great recommendations from like Franklin County right now. We are going through all of their green box sites currently and replacing them with compactors.
All of their green box
All
spot?
of their
All
green
of
box. Almost all of them. I know there are smaller ones, like 1 or 2, out there with dumpsters on them. But, we just started that project. Actually, that's where my technicians are at today, is installing the first site for Franklin County.
Mark has already been there, that's who he's been speaking to, as well as Montgomery County. So he's really, you know, done the tour and, Jim has been real, communication has been real good.
The site up at Willis.
Mhm.
And I hate to keep beating this drum, but a lot of that trash belongs to our neighbors. You know, so So, once we get the site fenced in and get our cameras set up now, I'd say Esther would cut it down a third anyway, or maybe close to a half. So if a truck don't have to go out there every 3 weeks, cause I can see that happening. Once we get just our trash in there. That'd still be a monster of a savings right there for us. So
I was gonna ask you, cause you know, like other places, we deal with bears a lot, so what's the bears think about
I've
this?
heard about it, I think we quoted just some bear-proof dumpsters. There's no real way to keep a bear off of the piece of equipment. What we suggest to other customers like Bath County and stuff like that is doing what is called a forward stop. And essentially you run the ram out and then you stop it, and that's where you leave it overnight. And then when your site attendant comes back out in the morning, the bear cannot physically get into your container that way. He might still get curious, and he still might climb all over it. I've never seen a bear destroy one. I've seen them destroy the cages and stuff that people build for them, the metal cages, and it just doesn't stop them. But that will. This is a huge ram that is in place, and the marriage hooks that keep the container connected to it. I mean, he can't just push this thing around, and so that's the best solution that we have found is forward stop with your ram. And then when he comes in the morning, he just brings his ram back, and people can continue to throw trash out there.
I may be dreaming, but I'd say if you had one of these sites, you probably cut down 90% on the bear population.
That's what I think.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
So you have something else.
That's all I've got.
To the bears,
Do you have
the
anything
chain
else to-
fences, the chain link fences that you put up,
We,
they don't.
they haven't learned how to do that yet.
They haven't.
Right, I guess they know how.
Would
they
be the
just-
electric at the top of it.
Yeah, it might be the
Charge.
electric.
But that's a huge deterrent in itself. If you're talking about fencing in the sites, and then closing them up in the evenings. and
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, I think that will stop it, the initial stop. I mean, nothing will really stop a determined bears. Yeah.
Then we have to start kicking them away from the houses.
Yeah, there you go.
I
That's
already
the
got
next
that
place.
problem, so I just have to.
They're gonna go wherever they smell the food, I guess.
Don't talk to Mark about
Are there any other questions?
No, you kinda answered that, other than, you've been working in our region, like Montgomery,
Yes.
Franklin, and how long have you been working with Montgomery?
Well, I've been with the company for 11 years, so since I've been here.
Okay,
And we used to be located in Bedford, but then we moved over to the Salem
Salem area.
area. But when we were in Bedford, we were just working out of a truck, and it has grown so much
Right.
since then. And I know I showed you a picture of our building on the front, but that's just one of the buildings. We have a
Right.
huge lot full of trucks and compactors and balers.
You don't have a buy two, get one free promotion?
That would be those guys back there.
Yeah, BOGO.
I run the service and the parts department, so yeah.
Fortunately, that's
Worth
not
a
my.
try.
Oh, passing it to the
Let me
next
get any
person,
warranty
right?
coverage, though.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
Answer's always no until you do.
Yeah, right.
County can't say I'm not working for them.
There you go.
We already use a lot of Mid-Atlantic parts
Mhm.
presently, so Jenny just reminded.
We sold you your recent front loader.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
So we already have a working relationship.
That's correct.
We sell you parts all the time.
Right, right. Well, you
We're
seem to
very
be the
familiar with
source.
Cheryl.
It's a little further away, but Pulaski County also has compactor sites.
Okay,
I was curious with the Jenny Tolbert, if she's any relation to Josh Tolbert at the county of Pulaski, so.
Don't believe so. Thank you.
Thought we might have a definite end there.
So, thank y'all.
Is that all?
Yeah,
Yep.
thank you.
Thank you
Thank
guys
you.
very much.
Informative.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah. We gotta investigate that more. There's been no constitutional officers around, so
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
y'all have a good day.
Have a good day.
Y'all
You
take
too.
care.
thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Yours too.
With that, we'll move up to our public comment period. It is the intent that all people who attending the meeting of the board, regardless of handicap conditions, shall have an opportunity to participate. If any person present requires any special assistance, please let the board know in order that the arrangements can be made. Speakers are limited to 4 minutes. Sharing or giving away unused time is not permitted. The board does not respond to questions or comments made by the speaker during the public comment. With that, I'll open it, and like I say, when you come forward, state your name and the district you're from.
Chris Campbell, excuse me, from Sandy Flats Road, Little River District.
Good morning, thank you for allowing me to speak again. You'll probably see more of me. I ended up having a good meeting with David Clark. We spoke for about an hour, and as we were speaking, one of the things that I was doing was, I've been in front of you numerous times talking about specific issues associated with the rural rustic road program. You know my concerns, you've heard my concerns about that. I started voicing the same concerns to Mr. Clark. And about halfway through that hour that we met, because I was talking about compaction and various things of having an impervious surface and things like I talked to you guys about. About halfway through that meeting, we talked about the fact that this was regarding Sandy Flats. Well, lo and behold, he told me that Sandy Flats was not a rural rustic road in that program. And that kind of set me back, because I was told a long time ago that it was part of the rural rustic road program. And then I felt embarrassed. I felt embarrassed that I'd spent all my time with y'all, going through my concerns about that program in Sandy Flats. And the road doesn't even apply. It's a gravel, it's a dirt road. And apparently that's all it's intended to be. And so, first of all, I want to apologize for wasting my time in front of you. Wasting your time in front of you, whatever. But, so I'm not going to name names on who told me this particular, that Sandy Flats was part of it, was a rural rustic road. But he was kind enough to give me the current 6-year plan, which was, the resolution was on April 22nd of this year. And to my delight, Sandy Flats was included on this plan. To my dismay, it's number 13 out of 14. That ain't gonna cut it. I was almost hit twice between the last meeting that we've had and this meeting. I was almost hit twice on that road. Road narrows, blind curve, pickup, both of them are pickups, 2 different pickups. Came around the curve, almost, I had to go in the ditch and come back out. I don't want to lose my life on that road. I'm not saying I would, because I was going probably 15, truck may have been going 30. But the bottom line is that it's dangerous. So I just want to express the fact that I still think that Sandy Flats needs to be, I would like to see him moved up on that plan. I'm hoping in my lifetime it's paved, but it may not be. But anyway, again, thank you for your time. I'll be back and we'll see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Having nobody else up, close the public comment. just as an afterthought, I wanted to explain something to him, the way I understand it. Don't pay no attention to that 13. Because if they have a project that they bid it out and they can't work it there, they take that money and they move it around to where it will work.
I was aware of that, but
Okay.
he did state that these were listed in terms of priority.
Right, right.
But he did mention that they did move money around. And thank you for bringing that up again. Thanks again.
Thought I'd
Thank
try
you.
to give you a little bit of comfort anyways.
Well, have a good day too.
Alrighty.
For 10A.
Mr. Chair,
Yes. Do what?
could we take a 5-minute break?
Yeah. Sound like you need
Thank
one.
you.
10A? 10A, you said?
Just try to
Oh,
stick
yeah,
to
we're on
5
10A.
minutes
I got
as best we can.
4 minutes and 59 seconds.
Yeah, there you go.
get back in session. We'll move down to 10A, workforce housing concept.
So, sir, if I may, and after speaking with Ladina and having the fortunate conversation with Chris as well, I think there's more information to come that would give you guys a better concept, no pun intended with concept, to make the best decision with more information that would come from the experts with regards to what was presented today. So if I may, I would suggest taking that off as an action item.
Sounds good to me. So,
Is that fair?
If there were any questions for Chris before he takes
And-
off, he's happy if you
Do you have any more questions for Chris? No? You're good.
Well, I do
Oh,
have.
I'm sorry, I'm
I
sorry.
do have a question. I'll just follow up the question that we spoke with, there a few minutes ago. So, I'd asked him, in the hallway about this question, so I just wanna make it a public question here, but your proposal was on the private water or a community well, perhaps. Can you explain the differences where you did not do the calculations, being involved in the PSA system, and go into that for us real quick?
Well, and we did do those, we did do those calculations.
Okay.
What happens when you tie into the public system, that water tank is on school property, kind of next to the softball field up there, and the elevation of that tank is such, and the capacity of that tank is such, in the afternoons, they experience, during the day, they experience some drops in pressure, and it's available to get into the hospital. So, to mitigate some of those issues, and also to get it up to, remember the yellow part on that, the high part, that sits above that water tank, so you gotta get some pressure. So when you tie into the public system, easy enough, however, that triggers the need for probably some additional storage and also booster pump to get it up the hill there. And that happens, unfortunately, right in the first phase there. As soon as you do the first house, you gotta get pressure to it. And so that's why the least expensive version of this, and we're not making any judgments about whether that's the best version or not, is to use a community well system. So you would have one well kind of sitting high up in elevation, so you don't need either a booster pump, nor do you need storage to handle the lighter demand that you have for up to 10, say, residential units.
Can I leapfrog off of? Okay.
So is the idea then to use a private shared water system but connect sewer to the PSA?
Correct. You don't, you have some of the you are, in all the scenarios, you have the issue with trying to get sanitary sewer up and over this ridge that exists pretty much where the crest view comes in.
Right, we pump sewer all over down here. Also, how much water would be needed to do these scenarios?
There's a calculation per unit, I think it's 300 gallons per day.
Right.
It's pretty, so it's not a heavy draw for at least the first phase.
Right.
And so at some point, you could build this system out and then connect it into the public system. So that it kind of, but it doesn't draw on the existing system. I think that's probably the best way to put it. It can act independently if it needs to.
And USDA money is out there for expanding water and sewer to housing, is that correct, Ladina?
I can't speak to that, honestly, I haven't looked at that closely, I know the PSA has gotten money from USDA, but I haven't looked at that yet. We have put in a request for a couple of years now for, to the congressionally directed, spending.
Right.
That could connect Storker's non-tank
Correct.
to the high school tank,
Right.
that would take care of the water pressure issues and would tie those two volumes together. However, there were no CDS projects funded last year, and I'm not clear about this year whether that would be. So that
And
would
if
be-
we're bringing a line down from Stalker's Knob to the tank, one would assume that since we're coming down that grade, we could maybe tee off and then.
Yeah, it gets complicated, like, if we pass any houses with CDBG type money to do that, 80% have gotta be willing to sign on to that, so we would
If we
choose our
pass
path.
houses?
Yes, we've got existing houses, so we'd have to choose our path
So it's
carefully.
Yeah, we would. We'd have to choose our path and then there's a path through the woods.
mandatory connections if we pass the houses.
Exactly.
Yeah, but if we pass through
Or
the
not
woods,
mandatory, but they wanna see 80%
Right.
willing to do it.
You can get there without going
going by anybody's house,
Yeah.
that's correct.
Yeah.
And probably be easier,
a whole lot easier.
whole lot easier. Okay,
But
Yeah.
as I said, that community well system is an option, it's the cheapest option. But there may be, if we were able to get a system.
yeah, if we could crib together some
rural
monies,
development.
Yeah.
Without.
Yeah.
and because-
especially since we're trying to do what everybody wants you to do right now,
That's right.
so, yeah.
One last question, so your concepts are on the community well system, but tied into the public sewer system? Or private sewer system, public sewer system?
That's
Okay.
correct.
So community well and public sewer. Gotcha.
Yeah, which is a little different because usually because you can get water to go uphill with a pressurized system. Here, we're actually introducing the pressurized system to the septic,
Gotcha.
or to the sanitary sewer. But that's positive. Once you gotta pump it a little bit, you might as well keep going and send it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, next is approval of the land division ordinance. And go ahead. You may not get an opportunity once I open this can.
I was just hoping I could have the floor for a few minutes, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, so-
As the board moves forward to consider whether to adopt the land division ordinance or not, I just wanted to make a few preliminary comments, hopefully put the public's mind at ease on a few issues that were raised at the various public hearings. First issue that's been raised more than once is do Supervisors DeVito, Cookenbook, and Cox have a conflict in voting on the land division ordinance because they're real estate agents and the land division ordinance arguably impacts the real estate market in Floyd County? The answer is no. Under the Virginia State and Local Government Conflict of Interest Act, a conflict usually exists when someone has a particularized personal interest in a matter that's up for consideration. Generally, in order for a public official to have a prohibited conflict of interest, the interest in question must be something that would provide a specific benefit or detriment to their own property, to a business that they own, or to a business that they work for. This is not particularized, there's nothing in the land division ordinance that would give a particularized benefit or a detriment to any real estate agent in Floyd County, separate and apart from the public or anyone who owns land or would like to subdivide land. The Act also provides that an officer or employee of any state or local government or advisory agency who has a personal interest in a transaction may participate in the transaction if it affects the public generally, even if his personal interest as a member of the public may also be affected by the transaction. So even if we state, for the sake of argument, that these changes to the land division ordinance would benefit the real estate market in Floyd County, would benefit realtors, it also affects the public generally. And because it affects the public generally, anyone who owns land would be affected by this. There is no prohibition under the State and Local Government Conflict of Interest Act. So because there's no clear nexus between any particular change in the ordinance and a benefit to any individual realtor's business, I just don't see a conflict here. Without some sort of personal benefit, like this is gonna enable me to do something specific that's not available to other members of the public, without something like that, I just don't see that the law addresses this. The second issue that has been raised from time to time is the question of, is the Board of Supervisors prohibited from considering housing costs in the adoption of the subdivision ordinance? And I think the answer is no. I think that is a legitimate thing for you all to consider if you choose. You have general authority under, for example, 15.2/1200. You have authority to adopt measures to promote the health, safety, and general welfare. Under 15.2/2200, the enabling legislation for the land division and zoning ordinances, that chapter provides a broad statement of policy. It says, this chapter is intended to encourage localities to improve the public health, safety, convenience, and welfare of their citizens and to plan for the future development of communities. That's a very broad general statement that does include, whenever you see welfare, convenience, that includes the authority to take economic considerations into your decision-making process. It goes on to say you need to consider the needs of agriculture and industry and business and be recognized in future growth. So you're supposed to take into account the ability of the county to grow, to promote a healthy business environment, while also considering the needs of agriculture and other businesses. So again, you're allowed to take economic factors into consideration. It goes on to provide that you're supposed to consider that residential areas be provided with healthy surroundings for family life. And that the growth of the community be consonant with the efficient and economical use of public funds. Moreover, the subdivision ordinance and the zoning ordinance in localities that have zoning, those are the primary means you have of implementing the comprehensive plan. The Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors are directed in Article 3 of Chapter 22, Title 15.2, to consider economic factors in formulating the plan in order to promote and plan for economic growth, social well-being, public health and safety, and the environment. These are all things that you're supposed to consider in your comp plan. And the subdivision ordinance in Floyd County, the subdivision ordinance is really the primary means for you to implement that. So again, I think that you can take those issues into consideration. Finally, the question has been raised, does the board have authority to adopt prescriptive measures in the land division ordinance? The answer is yes. Generally, a locality is prohibited from adopting measures that directly conflict with state policy. However, when you adopt measures in harmony with the policy or parallel to, with some authority in the code, I think you're on fairly solid ground to do so. And to give you a couple of examples, lot sizes. If you couldn't adopt prescriptive measures, then you'd be stuck with saying, well, subdivisions shall have sufficient lot size. Who decides what sufficient lot size is? That's your obligation. You've got to adopt a prescriptive measure here. And I will just say, most laws, most ordinances that you adopt are prescriptive in nature. You set a standard of conduct, you set a bar, and that is the minimum level that the public needs to comply with. It's hard to have any kind of laws without setting prescriptive standards. Call your attention to 15.2/2241. These are mandatory provisions of the subdivision ordinance. Subsection 4, you're supposed to provide in your subdivision ordinance for the extent to which and the manner in which streets shall be graded, gravelled, or otherwise improved, and water and storm and sanitary sewer and other public utilities or other community facilities are to be installed. So what this means, it would be very challenging, I think, to state the extent and manner to which streets shall be graded without having some prescriptive standards in there. How, just say the extent they'll be gravelled or otherwise improved. Hard to have an ordinance setting those standards as you're required to by the enabling legislation without having some sort of prescriptive standards in there. I think the same argument applies for water, storm, and sanitary sewer and other public utilities or other community facilities. I think in this case, you've got a limited provision in the subdivision ordinance that if you want these additional reduced lot sizes, there are some prescriptive standards for shared water and wastewater systems. I think that this qualifies as a community facility in that instance, and so that gives you authority to adopt prescriptive standards. I leave it to you all to decide the wisdom or where to set the bar, but I think that you've got the authority to legislate in that area. You could adopt a measure that that has a hard prescriptive standard. You could adopt a measure that says we'll rely on an expert certification. The engineer's gonna sign off on this and stamp it and sort of put their name and reputation on the line. We'll rely on that. Or you could have a combination of that the engineer or other qualified professional will design a system that could exceed these standards, but we're gonna set a floor. I think you could do that. So with that being said, I think that there is authority to adopt sort of measures for shared water and wastewater systems. If a board does want to take up the matter and consider adoption, some things that I would hope that you discuss today are section 1-6 effective date. I think speaking of Carla, I think we need 60 days for the effective date at least, so please consider that. There was some discussion in the planning commission on what their recommendations would be as far as what the minimum lot size should be, and whether what standards should apply to private centralized water, private centralized wastewater systems. I just want to point out that the planning commission they're not a gatekeeper, so they haven't the motion of the planning commission at the last meeting was on their recommendation to you all. It did not amend the ordinance, it did not amend what is before you for consideration. What's before you for consideration is what was advertised. So if there's gonna be any amendments based on what the planning commission recommended, you'll need to sort of resubmit those in a motion to adopt. Because right now, you have an unmodified ordinance from what you advertised before you for consideration. And with that, if there are any questions, I'm happy to.
Somebody has one.
Sorry, I'll try and be loud enough. The planning commission's recommendations are more restrictive, so if we were to adopt those then, or want to put those in the plan, would we have to go back through a public hearing process?
You might be well advised to. I think technically in the strictest interpretation, you've held a public hearing, you are free to act. We've always counseled that whenever you're considering adopting something that is more restrictive, it's always wise to go out for another public hearing, simply because you're always safe.
Yep.
No one can be heard to complain if you go out for another public hearing.
Yep.
The reason why we say you can make things less restrictive than what you advertised is because, for the same reason, no one can be heard to complain if you regulate less than what you had advertised you were going to.
Right.
And we see this happens mostly in the tax and budget.
Yeah.
You advertise a rate at 50 cents, and if you adopt 45, who could be heard to complain that you adopted lower taxes than you said you were going to? So that's what the analogy we use. I don't think strictly you're necessarily required to have another public hearing, but if you are gonna be more restrictive, I think you're well advised.
It'd be the best practice.
It would be the best practice.
It is.
Anybody else got any questions? Oh, Jerry,
Mr. Chairman, and I apologize, I know I'm sitting back in the back corner. I would suggest that we not act on this today. And I would prefer if we look at our calendars and pick a time, I know some's going out of town back and forth, but look at our calendars and set aside a day just for this subject. And let's go through it again, and then we can look at it after that point and see what we need to do.
So a workshop?
Yeah, another workshop.
Is that a motion?
I don't know that we have to make a motion, but if we agree,
I had already made up my mind, I was not voting for this the way it is right now. There's no way I could. And so it would be good, I'm glad you brought it up, Jerry, save me from opening a can of worms real quick, but we can do it at a workshop.
Yep.
But,
and I know everybody's got stuff to do, but if we could pick a day and do it start in the morning, that way we're not rushed to get out or whatever.
He just wants one.
I know there's hay going on, work going on and everything else, but I'd be willing to set that aside if it works for everybody else. Now, if Marjorie can't make that work, we'll do it at night, but it's gonna be a long meeting, I'm afraid. And that way then staff would be on hand to help if they need to research something. Unless Ladina wants to be up here at midnight. And Carla.
and I apologize to
Steve.
Adina and Cora,
That's
because they were like me, I wanna get this thing passed and put to bed, but I cannot in good conscience vote for it.
Yeah.
Use present form.
That's just my suggestion, whatever happens, happens.
Can I throw out September 30th? It's a Tuesday?
That's our board meeting. No, it's not.
No, it's the
23rd.
23rd.
Yep, you're right.
You already had it planned in your mind that it would be.
I did, I guess so.
Yeah, when the Tuesday is the 2nd, it kinda,
I can make the 30th work. Is that the earliest that you're available, Linda?
What time?
Carla will be out during that time.
I see.
oh,
Yep, Carla's
I
on
will
vacation.
be out of the state September 29th through October 14th. I'll be back on the 14th.
okay. September 29th, you said?
I'll be gone.
Right, okay, so September 29th. Is that the soonest I could do? Is that your question?
Yes.
I could. I could. If we had to, I could do something next Tuesday. I would have to change some.
She'll still be gone till through the 14th.
Who?
Carla.
No, I'm talking
she's
about
October.
September.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you meant the 7th.
That's okay. No.
She'll be up here.
October.
No, I'm back in September, like next Tuesday, I would have, no, okay. How about next month, what are you thinking, the whole day, Jerry?
Well, I think at least the morning, if not,
I don't believe
it
it.
depends on how talkative we are.
Because
If-
I have.
23rd is our next meeting.
I would get a sub, yeah, the 23rd is our next meeting at night.
Could and I apologize, I didn't think about this till I was back here. Could we look at our calendars and submit some dates to Kim, and then the chairman can call a special meeting that day for a workshop?
That'll work.
I guess so, I just know my.
To make it easier, just give me the dates that y'all are not available. It's easier to work with it that way.
But we have to keep in mind the 29th through October.
Right, well, that's done off the books right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
September 29th through October 14th.
The week prior to that, Ladina is out of office.
Yeah.
And
So you're back to work the 15th or you're back to work the 14th?
14th.
Okay, you're back to work the 14th.
Well, if it's gonna be up in October, we can
yeah,
we can get it the next meeting. That'll give everybody a chance to come up with a date. And then we can set it to next meeting then.
All right, I
I'll throw out an email of the dates that Carla and Ladina are not here, just to keep you guys, reminded.
Yeah, just
and then you
send
can
out
kinda
an email so
thread.
I'll know when they're
Right.
gone.
And I'll try to at least hold that on my calendar so that if you need me, I can
Yeah.
come, but if not,
Call.
or I could take a call, that'd be fine too.
Thank you.
I just will say here, I can move around my schedule if I have enough. I have responsibilities for taking care of, someone. And I can kind of shift that if I have to, but I do need to know so I can make sure and clear it to see if they're available. So I'm just looking at days that I'm not. You don't wanna see my calendar.
So just send out an email when Ladina and Carl's gonna be gone. And but next meeting, we should have our hopefully. This thing been dragging on, 10 years?
Out of sight, out of mind, Carla, for those 2 weeks. Out of sight, out of mind. 10 years? No.
Okay,
Leave me alone.
so new business.
I'll let you take care of that part.
Okay, the next on the list is the appointment of the New River Valley Aging on Agency board members. Presently, it was the county administrator and the deputy county administrator as the alternate. So I didn't know how you felt or how you'd wanna move forward with that, if you wanted a board member, if you wanted myself and Jenny or something to that nature. So that's where we need to re-up. It's up, the term's up in the 30th of September.
If you'd ready, I'd make a motion.
Go ahead.
All right, I'll make a motion that we appoint our interim county administrator and our deputy interim county administrator to the appointment of the New River Valley Agency on Aging for 2-year terms, beginning 10/1, with the notion that as we move forward, that this should be appointed to be the administrator and their acting deputy.
Second. Whoever, Jerry, give it to Jerry.
Okay.
Call the roll.
Alright, on the motion to appoint presently the interim county administrator and the acting deputy county administrator, Kim Cheeto as the board member, and alternate representative would be Jenny Tolbert, for 2-year terms beginning 10/1/25. Ms. Cookenbook,
Yes.
Mr. Booth,
Yes.
Ms. Bechtold,
Yes.
Mr. Cox,
Yes.
and Mr. Terman.
I guess.
You're on the hook.
Small purchase. Okay, next we have a resolution, it's actually amended resolution on the present small purchase procedure. This is something that Steve kind of assisted with in some changing of some how it's verbalized in the present one. You have Steve's red line, and then the next one is a clean copy with those changes.
And this is a bit of a just a housekeeping recommendation. You've had a small purchase procedure that is below the thresholds that are permitted under the Virginia Public Procurement Act. I think it's served the county well, and this isn't really a substantive change, but it does clarify, because Kim and I had a discussion over what kind of services might be procured. There are a few limited services that fall under the definition of professional services. Everything else is just general services. For professional services, you're not supposed to receive a price quotation. You're supposed to determine who is the most qualified candidate and then negotiate with the offerer ranked number one. And then if you can't work out price, then you go to offer number two and you go that way. So the red line just clarifies that for professional services, in lieu of a price quotation, a statement of qualification shall be requested from potential offerors. And then additionally in section 7C, it had the same correction that for within the price threshold of 15,001 to 30,000, the purchasing agent shall obtain 3 written price quotations when they're applicable, or statements of qualification when it's applicable. So just a minor change that will just make it a little easier to administer the purchasing policy of the county.
So that's an action item. Motion.
So moved.
Second. Motion second.
Alright, on the motion to accept the resolution as amended and discussed, Ms. Bechtold,
Yes.
Mr. Cox,
Yes.
Mr. Booth,
Yes.
Ms. Cookenbook,
Yes.
and Mr. Terman.
Yes.
So accepted. The next on the
Just
list.
take him one at a time,
Yes.
instead of all 3 of them.
Okay. The next, we have a proclamation acknowledging Child Cancer Awareness Month for the month of September.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we accept this proclamation for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, September 2025. Whereas each year in the United States, approximately 15,000 children and adolescents under the age of 20 are diagnosed with cancer, with about 41 new diagnoses each day. And whereas roughly 1 in every 285 children in the United States will be diagnosed with cancer before their 20th birthday, with this number continuing to increase annually, and whereas more than 495,000 survivors of childhood and adolescent cancer are living in the United States today, yet over 40,000 children are currently undergoing active treatment. And whereas in the Commonwealth of Virginia, an estimated 359 children will be diagnosed with cancer this year, impacting families in every region of the Commonwealth. And whereas globally, childhood cancer affects more than 400,000 children each year, though the true number may be even higher due to underreporting in low-resource settings. And whereas childhood cancer is the leading cause of death by disease among children in the United States, and although advancements in research and treatment have increased the 5-year survival rate to 85%, more than 1,500 young people ranging from infants to teenagers lose their lives to cancer each year. And whereas approximately 95% of childhood cancer survivors will face at least one chronic health condition later in life, including potential heart, liver, or lung damage, infertility, secondary cancers, or developmental challenges. And whereas the causes of most childhood cancers remain unknown, and additional research is critical to understanding these diseases and developing more effective, targeted treatments for pediatric patients. And whereas because pediatric cancers often differ significantly in type and behavior from adult cancers, treatment protocols must be tailored to meet the unique developmental and physiological needs of children. And whereas hundreds of children across Virginia are currently receiving expert care at leading pediatric cancer centers, including the University of Virginia's Children's Hospital in Charlottesville, Children's Hospital of Richmond, Inova L.J. Murphy Children's Hospital in Falls Church, Children's National Northern Virginia in Fairfax, and Children's Hospital of the King's Daughters in Norfolk. And whereas Childhood Cancer Awareness Month serves as an opportunity to honor the children and families affected by pediatric cancer, to support survivors and those in treatment, to remember those we have lost, and to advance efforts in education, research, and compassionate care. Therefore, I, the Floyd County Board of Supervisors representative, recognize September 2025 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in the county of Floyd, Virginia, and I call this observance to the attention of all our citizens.
So we got a motion to have a second.
Second?
Call roll. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
I don't know if it won't show up there, but if you look on the one online, on our packet, where it's talking about the motion and unanimously carried, with the I and T's on top of each other.
Oh, yeah. On mine also, on recovery.
Strange.
Just need to space it just a little.
Okay, we can take care of that, thank you.
Yeah.
Also on recovery.
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna,
Yeah, I love it.
who seconded?
Kalinda.
Glenda, thank you.
Linda?
All right, on the motion to approve the proclamation of Child Cancer Awareness Month for the month of September, Ms. Cookenbook,
Yes.
Ms. Bechtold,
Yes.
Mr. Cox,
Yes.
Mr. Booth,
Yes.
and Mr. Terman.
Yes.
Obviously, once printed and signed, we will make sure that those edits happen. Okay, thank you. Next, sir, is a proclamation recognizing September as Recovery Month.
Go ahead and just read down for us.
I'd like to read the proclamation and present it. Whereas, it's Recovery Month, whereas substance use disorders and mental health challenges affect individuals and families in every community across the Commonwealth of Virginia and the nation, impacting people from all backgrounds and walks of life, and whereas overdose occurs when an individual knowingly or unknowingly takes more than the recommended or safe amount of a controlled substance, and substance use disorders can lead to devastating physical, emotional, and social consequences. And whereas right now, this administration's mental health and behavioral health initiative provides support for those who live with substance use disorders through increased resources as one of the transformation's 6 main pillars. And whereas overdose deaths in Virginia declined 33.5% in 2024, with emergency department visits decreasing by 6.2% as of May 2025, signaling progress in statewide prevention, treatment, and recovery efforts. And whereas access to evidence-based treatment, ongoing support, and comprehensive care empowers individuals affected by substance use or mental health disorders to embark on deeply personal and transformative recovery journeys, fostering resilience, personal growth, and lasting wellness through community support and sustained commitment. And whereas peer recovery specialists, individuals with lived experience of mental health and substance use challenges, play a vital role in Virginia's behavioral health system by offering hope, encouragement, and mentorship to others on their recovery journey. And whereas peer-to-peer support has been shown to increase success in recovery, reducing drug-related harm, and foster social support networks that are critical to sustained recovery. And whereas peer recovery support services are now recognized as an essential component of the continuum of care, helping to expand access to recovery resources, promote harm reduction strategies, and contribute to Virginia's overall 36.6% decrease in overdose fatalities. And whereas Virginia has certified more than 1,400 peer recovery specialists, with over 600 added since Right Help Right Now began in September 2022. And whereas family support partners are parents or caregivers who have successfully navigated behavioral health system on behalf of a loved one and now support other families facing similar challenges. And whereas peer recovery specialists and family support partners work across a wide range of service settings, including behavioral health agencies, recovery community organizations, crisis response centers, treatment programs, psychiatric facilities, correctional institutions, law enforcement operations, emergency departments, recovery residents, and managed care systems. And whereas Recovery Month recognizes and honors the many pathways to recovery and the courage of individuals, families, and communities working toward healing, while also raising the awareness of effective services, evidence-based practices, and recovery-oriented systems of care. And whereas citizens across the Commonwealth are encouraged to participate in programs, activities, and events that promote recovery awareness, celebrate recovery success stories, and strengthen support for individuals and families affected by behavioral health challenges. Now, therefore, I, the Floyd County Board of Supervisors, recognize September 2025 as Recovery Month in the County of Floyd, Virginia, and I call this observance to the attention of all of our citizens.
I'll second.
Jerry?
Same IT
Yeah, for all.
and the
Yeah.
next one too.
Yes, for all. Obviously, that was a cut and paste from the front. Say Kalinda and
Glinda and Levi.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, on the motion to approve the proclamation for September as Recovery Month, Ms. Bechtold?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Cookenbook?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
And Mr. Terman?
Yes.
Again, with the same edits necessary once printed for signature. And lastly, we have yet another proclamation, Busy September recognition, for Suicide Prevention Month, but specifically for the week, this week, which is the 7th through the 13th.
Alrighty, this will be a good workout.
Hold on, I'm so sorry, excuse me 1 second. I have, per request from Steve, 3 motions ago, if he could just interject, and I just keep going, barreling right through it without letting Steve say something. My apologies.
I'm sorry, if I could just have the floor for a moment, Mr. Chairman.
Sorry, Steve.
I'll be taking my leave here in a few moments, but I wanted to make sure that this was done before I left. I just want to announce on behalf of the board, pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.23712, the Floyd County Board of Supervisors intends to conduct a closed meeting solely for the purpose of interviewing candidates for the position of Chief Administrative Officer. This meeting shall be conducted at an undisclosed location at some point within the next 15 days.
Good enough.
Let you read that earlier.
And with that, I will yield the floor, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Stop the
My
clock.
apologies.
Oh,
Sorry
that's
about
all
that.
right. Alright.
Thank you.
Suicide Prevention Week. Whereas suicide is a major preventable public health concern of local, state, and national responsibility. And whereas, according to the most recent data available from 2023, Virginia experienced 1,230 deaths by suicide, with individuals aged 80 to 84 having the highest suicide rates at 21.9 per 100,000. Suicide ranked nationally as the second leading cause of death in young people ages 10 to 34. And the fourth leading cause of death for those aged 35 to 44. And whereas public awareness of the warning signs, stress coping strategies, safety planning, and support network availability, coupled with the promotion of open dialogue about mental health, can reduce stigma and lead to the early intervention, effective treatment, and ultimately save lives as part of the multi-pronged approach to suicide prevention. And whereas schools serve as key settings for suicide prevention strategies in education, intervention, and postvention for our young people as described by the Virginia Board of Education, adopted suicide prevention guidelines for Virginia public schools. And whereas the Suicide Prevention Interagency Advisory Group, jointly facilitated by the Virginia Department of Behavioral Health and Development Services, the Virginia Department of Health, and the Governor's Challenge to Prevent Suicide Among Service Members, Veterans, and Families with the Virginia Department of Veteran Services, coordinates efforts in the Commonwealth to strengthen the capacity across our communities to implement suicide prevention strategies across the lifespan. And whereas Virginia DBHDS and DVS provide peer recovery support and family outreach services for former service members to support behavioral health, rehabilitation, and support service access before crisis develop. And whereas upstream behavioral health wellness programs diminish accumulating suicide risk, and the 40 prevention services offices of the Commonwealth's Community Service Boards provide trauma-informed, evidence-based prevention programs and strategies that promote mental health wellness and suicide prevention skills training. And whereas Virginians have access to free, confidential emotional support and suicide crisis intervention 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year when they call 988 and are connected with a highly trained crisis line worker. And whereas Lock and Talk Virginia, in partnership with Virginia DBHDS, provides a statewide approach to suicide prevention that educates the community on warning signs and encourages securely storing firearms, medications, and other potentially dangerous items during a mental health crisis. And whereas the Right to Help Right Now initiative to transform mental and behavioral health care for the Commonwealth is improving the continuum of care so that Virginians have someone to call, someone to respond, and some place to go before, during, and after a crisis. And whereas Right Help Right Now has been an all-in approach, working across agencies and with localities for a total of $1.4 million in new investments to ensure Virginians have access to care through services like 988, mobile crisis response, and crisis facilities. And whereas Suicide Prevention Week provides an opportunity for us all to join a united effort to offer hope, promote healing, and prevent suicide. Now therefore, I, the Floyd County Board of Supervisors representative, recognize September 7th through the 13th of 2025 as Suicide Prevention Week in the County of Floyd, Virginia, and I call this observance to the attention of all of our citizens.
Second.
Okay, on the motion to accept the Suicide Prevention Week of the September 7th through the 13th of 2025. Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Cookenbook?
Yes.
Ms. Bechtold?
Yes.
And Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you all, thank you.
And thank God, no closed sessions, so we move on to board time. Anybody got anything?
If I might.
Wait.
I appreciate not voting on the land division ordinance today. There's been a lot of concern about what it lies in store for the future of the county as it's written. I was going through my notes, and over the last two public hearings, 27 people spoke to us. 23 were very adamant that we do more to protect our county than what this land division ordinance does. And there were 4 speakers that agreed to it, and 3 of them would directly benefit from the actions of this land division ordinance. So I'm very concerned that the loud minority will guide the future of our county and what it looks like. And I appreciate everybody being willing to take the time to spend one more work session to make sure we're making the right decision.
Indeed. And I'm not sure it's gonna be one. Maybe it will.
And I want to touch on something Steve said, your report that affects Levi and Linda. I've talked to Levi about it. You know, I had a real estate license for a number of years, and I got it to coincide with my auctions because you have to write contracts when you auction real estate. But in all my years, I can only remember twice selling lots. And both of these was in Carroll County. It was off the Parkway. People bought the lots, decided that they changed their mind anyway, they listed it for us to sell them. I asked Levi how many lots he normally sells, and he's very little, none, something like that. Can't remember exactly what. So you know
Not a
what,
high percent.
yeah, so, you know, when these land divisions comes up and these subdivisions, whatever you wanna call them, most of the time, whoever creates them sells them. You know, they don't put them in a realtor's hands, very few times. So actually, it don't benefit them. Houses and large tracts, basically is where they get their bread and butter from. You know, so, you know, and I know both of them, you know, was gonna disqualify herself just so they wouldn't give the appearance of impropriety, or whatever, how you say that word. But I just wanna say that, you know, I know for personally, they are not making anything off of this land.
Thank you.
Everybody does their due diligence not to get a conflict started.
That's correct.
So
Thank you.
I think, Jerry,
thank you.
Jerry.
Jerry's got his hand back there.
More than one thing.
Okay.
I just wanna say I agree with you and Steve. I've got to know Levi and I've known Linda for a long time. I agree with his synopsis and yours too. I think if either one of them had anything, well, for that matter, any of us had any conflict, we'd set our side aside. And various times we have. So maybe that'll put that to bed. The flag on the courthouse.
They're ordered.
It's ordered, okay. Alright.
It's for 9/11.
Green boxes on Route 8 at the trucking company. When can we anticipate those being put back, please?
Mark will be back tomorrow. He'll be back tomorrow and I'll revisit with him and get back with you.
As soon as you can, because, you know, we were talking about the green box situation earlier, and when I was back there and I heard somebody say something about, well, it may help our problem. Well, I can tell you right now, it'll help our problem, it's not helping people's problem.
Correct.
People having bears in places that they haven't seen bears before, because they're rummaging, there's restaurants shut down. So they're rummaging through everybody's backyard. I know of I've heard of at least 2 people that's lost calves. So on the other end of it, we may have to approach the Outdoor Game Commission about expanded season, different, something there to help with the population. And I'll get shot for this, but there's a reason the population was low to begin with. Our grandfathers and great grandfathers helped get it there, but I'll take a hit for that, I know. But the other thing, I was asked this morning, and our change in policy on purchases and that sort of stuff. Apparently some of the outfits for the cheerleaders didn't come in on time. Some of the coaches was told that if they went ahead and got tops to match the shirts, they'd be reimbursed. Apparently when they approached them to do it, they were told that that was something that had to come before the Board of Supervisors. If it's in their budget, I think they should be able to go ahead and take care of it. But however it needs to be handled, these coaches and parents need to be reimbursed. And maybe in the future, we need to plan a little bit ahead to allow for some late deliveries and stuff. That may be what happened, I don't know, but.
I'll get the facts on it and I'll follow up and make sure the families are reimbursed and and the board is updated.
Whoever needs to be reimbursed since we were providing the outfits and they went ahead and purchased them, then we should reimburse them.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's my opinion, but
I'll take care of it. I'll find the facts.
thank you.
And you know, back to what he said on the bears, another thing that really hurt this time, I know on my end of the county, it wasn't just a handful of blackberries. There's very few apples this time.
Yeah.
And so they don't have their natural food. And, you know, we got bears all over my place up there. Thankfully, I'm going to keep my trash up, but anyways, but,
Big concern is when
Farming.
somebody gets between mama and her cubs.
that's what I was getting ready to say, you know, that's the dangerous part. When they're out scavenging for food and you just walk up on them
If
and get
the
in
game
between.
department won't take care of it, then we may have to get with Steve and see what we can do under health and welfare.
I think we need to reach out to our representatives, cause if I understand this right, you know, about the only way you get bear when you hunt them is baiting them or running them with dogs, which is illegal in the state of Virginia, all but Floyd County. You can't bait them, you can't run them with dogs in Floyd County. So we need to get that changed.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Yeah, one of many things we need to be on them about. But, you know, I think we've got enough problems with the bears right now to justify getting that done, or
Well,
maybe even an extended season.
Used to, you'd see them with 1 or 2 cubs, now you'll see them 2 and 3. They're doing
Sometimes 4.
It's happening like it is with the deer population.
Yeah.
I've seen more triplets with fawns this year than I've ever seen.
I'm glad they left my neighborhood. I haven't seen very few phones around my.
I've seen a lot of twins.
But anyway, we need to do something with the game.
Alright.
We need to reach out to them.
Maybe we can invite them to one of our meetings.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Maybe we can get that representative back down here.
Is ours is it Shaw?
No, he retired.
Yeah, we got
Oh,
a,
he
we
retired.
got a new guy right now.
Yeah, his name is Tyler.
We may need somebody to come out of the Marion office since we're
That's
in
what
that
I
district.
wanted, was game biologist that came before and talked to us.
Maybe both of them at the same time. That might be a
They can
great
dance.
meeting of
I
minds.
think when the biologist shows up, she brings her local warden with her. So,
Yeah.
One thing.
Mhm.
And I debated on just since I wasn't prepared to move forward on the land division thing really either today, but one thing I had sort of thought about, and I was gonna debated whether to say during board time or wait till whenever we have this meeting. I thought I'd go ahead and at least put it out there. And, I'm sure it could turn into something that would be a lot of discussion, but that's not my intention today. It's just to, so I don't have to call every one of you individually and ask you or tell you to think about this. I just get it all out here at one time. But just something that I had been, I've been involved in this thing now for 5 years, I reckon, even before I got on the board of supervisors in the planning phase of it. And I never really had quite thought about this concept until just recently, so I apologize that all this time has went by and I've never brought it to light, but just a thought that I've sort of had, and maybe we've already crossed this bridge and I've just forgot about it, but just something I've been sort of thinking about. A lot of our, prior to 2001 maybe, a lot of our, you go back and you look at a lot of deeds and so forth, a lot of our folks, my father benefited from this, from some of his family and so forth, but a lot of our folks, and you look at the deeds, they added on to their acreage because of a neighboring property. I've ran across it in the real estate business to where maybe an old farmer just needs to pay a medical bill. I had this example happen, but just needed to pay a medical bill, so he wanted to just sell off a hayfield to a neighboring farmer, but that was not allowed because it didn't have road frontage and so forth. My father, back in the 80s or 90s, he purchased a hayfield from his great uncle, no road frontage involved, but it benefited my father because it added a hayfield to it. Well, now that stuff wouldn't be allowed. I don't know what the proper way that you could go about doing that, and I've had somebody bring this to my attention a month or two ago where it was an 82-acre piece, and he just wanted to buy 5 or 10 acres up at the very top of the hill. Again, no road frontage involved. But the only way currently that the man or the woman that has a parcel in Floyd County could ever add on to their existing acreage or start their homestead or whatever they wanted to do, is if they buy a big parcel with the road frontage, and that's not always feasible. So what I would suggest, if we could give some thought to, is could we outline something to say, okay, well, we don't have any road frontage involved, we understand we can't put that out to the general public, but if you're a neighboring property owner, you know, can you, or could you explore that? So that's just a thought that I
I
have.
think you can do that currently just through lot line revisions. If a neighbor wants to expand a parcel and take part of a neighboring parcel, you just do a lot line revision.
And I'll check on that, but like my recent encounter over the last month or two on this larger acreage, 70 to 80 some acre, the piece he was wanting to obtain of the larger parcel did not have, he could have done that if he would have then included a section down to the road for the road frontage. But because of that, it was not allowed.
Yeah, I think the lot line revision might help.
That would work unless there's, like they made about 10 acres down the road from their farm.
Right, it'd have to be adjoining parcels.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
Right.
yeah, adjoining parcels, but it may be a conversation we don't even have to have, but for some reason, I think that it still requires the road front. So the only way for the, let's say the agricultural guy to add on to his business plan, he's gonna have to buy the entire place with some type of road frontage instead of just maybe the hay field behind his house. But just something maybe to think about moving forward.
Yeah. Maybe some sort of agricultural or designation. We'll have to get Carla on it.
You know, I guess it was taken care of, and I haven't got deep enough yet, but, you know, I had a situation there a year where people was calling me, these two brothers that inherited the family farm. They wanted to keep all the land. But one of the neighbor's daughters was getting married, so they wanted to buy the house of 5 acres. Which they done had to work out the deal and everything, but then when they came down here, they said, no, you gotta have everything surveyed.
Yeah.
That's coming off.
That's
Yeah.
coming off.
Oh, good.
Right.
Yeah, that's coming off.
I haven't got that far because, you know,
Yeah.
every piece of land around that touched their farm had been surveyed. Everybody knows where the property line was. Okay, I'm glad to know that. I didn't get deep into it, but
Yeah, we
we took care of
should
that.
fix that.
you'll squelch that one.
Yeah.
And mine may not even be
The
an
only
issue,
trouble
but
is it's 5 years too late. Yeah.
it's true.
Alright.
Anybody got anything else? If not, continue on.
Comments?
So in your correspondence folders, you have update, an August update from AIM for the EMS billing, as well as a monthly update from DSS. The school reports are in there. And then there's also a flyer in there for the Honoring One's Journey event that is gonna take place at the Peer Center in honor of Recovery Month. So all invited to that.
Okay.
I think they said chicken. I know you guys are big fans.
Might be fried too.
Yes, at the Peer Center event.
Well.
Not forever.
Sir, go to the next. So the last, it's just a quick update, courthouse security. Brian, Danny, Jenny, furniture, TVs, you know, all that. Pretty much they have been up and running.
they're tweaking what's necessary, you know, and that's probably, talk to Brian, it's gonna take a good 2 weeks, maybe
Sure.
a month, just to figure out all the nuances, but they're up and running and things are handled. Danny and Andrew went over there, got the TV up so the cameras could be on the TV for, you know, visual purposes, so it's all up and running and going.
Good.
Green Box court results, we had one deputy, they had 6 cases that went in front of the judge for fines for Green Box violations. 4 were fined, 2 were not. The 2 that weren't, it was due to questionable sticker and that were on the boxes and being able to read. Each driver has a folder that has all the stickers in, so when they go do their, you know, pickup, front load pickups, they will ensure that they're all good, clean,
Good job.
eligible stickers.
And I do know that one of them, he didn't even write or anything because the guy pointed out to him.
Yeah.
So
Right.
he just gave him a warning and let him go.
Right.
You know, 'cause
Yeah,
there
that
could've
was
been
that was the
7 right
7th.
Yeah.
So-
But that's a good move,
Yeah.
on putting the folders in there so they can put them on when they don't see them.
So, just a quick update, I had a call, it was kind of a check-in call initiated on their part with Davenport and Company. Just check in, gave them kind of a little update, Jenny and I, both were on the call. So we'll probably have more in the future with that, with them either coming in and doing a presentation as needed, I'm not sure if it is as of yet unless requested. Or, you know, getting an update, have some questions to possibly get some education to better position the county on whole.
I mentioned this to you a while back. Of course, I don't mean I agree, if you don't, that's fine. But you know, I think it'd be good to have David Rose or whoever does it to come back. Cause I know it, you know, I think Levi's come on the board since this has happened. Discuss what we owe, what we've come off,
Okay.
you know, just more or less financial, you
Update,
know,
sure.
you know, where we stood. Because, you know, he gave that presentation one time, and it really helped me
Okay.
to know, you know, Jerry knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Debt service, all that stuff,
Okay.
you know. And that's why and I think it's good if they do it every so often to refresh our memories. Because we got so much stuff going.
You got
And
it.
it would help the county too if they heard.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, we'll make that happen.
I agree with that, especially with what we're seeing and what's being projected coming. We need to know exactly
Yeah.
our position.
Right.
Yeah, between the auditors and that would be a good, very good.
Now that the audit's
Bookends.
over, they
Yep.
can get them a copy and they can look at it and then really give us a.
Already done, yeah. Budget and the audit, freeze.
I can read it all day, but unless I can touch it or have it explained to me, I don't grasp it sometimes.
And lastly, there is the flyer Jenny mentioned earlier, honoring One Journey, which is Peer Center, in honor of the proclamation that you guys just passed of Recovery Month. And it, you know, includes the journey of all, so you don't necessarily have to
Yeah.
have the disease of addiction. However, you know, it's a family disease, so there's a lot of people affected, so it's honoring everybody's journey in that. There will be music, there will be various things and it will be at the Peer Center itself. It'll be at the Peer Center itself. So we're looking forward, you know, to that event.
Yeah.
Lisa Thompson from the library is part of it. I think she's bringing the music.
I'm hoping I can attend that. I think it'd be good for any time that any of us can show up.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
And give them support. You know, it means a lot to them, to know that, you know, we got their back.
Yeah, they've actually surpassed any expectation with regards to people attending, resources, receiving, requesting. And they're actually starting to get the follow through with people who have been attending, you know, hey, I know I've been away, I'm okay, or
Right.
coming back to tell them good things that are happened, and that's where you get
Yeah.
that momentum.
That's
So
great,
they've really just gone above and beyond.
excellent.
We need to give him a pat on the back every chance we get.
I agree, I agree. Actually gonna send them the proclamation,
Yeah,
so I think
I
that'll
think
be,
that's important.
yeah,
Yeah, because
so,
they're doing great work. I wanted to see that happen for a long time.
I agree.
It's long overdue.
So, and with that, I am finished with the major updates.
Oh my goodness.
Want me to make a motion?
Yeah.
I make a motion that we adjourn our September 9th meeting for 2021. Just a reminder to everyone as I say this, September 11th is Thursday, so if everybody can keep those patriots in your hearts and prayers and the families that haven't, but in all reality, today was the day. Happened on a Tuesday morning just like this.
Everybody remember, we got a date tomorrow.
I'll second.
Yep.
There you go. All right,
All right.
motion to adjourn, Ms. Cookenbook.
Yes.
Ms. Bechtold.
Yes.
Mr. Cox.
Yes.
Mr. Booth. And Mr. Terman.
Yes.
Meeting is now adjourned.
Let me check.
Thank you for your service.